You are looking live. Tim and Javier, morning. Dead Struck, welcome.
Yeah, another riveting. Well, I mean, I guess if you stayed up till midnight, there was a good NBA game, but I didn't do that.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Cinco de Mayo, the 5th of May, the first Tuesday of May. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Big 36, 48 hours for my friend and co-host, Mark Miller. Head back up to Tampa. You'll be very busy for about 30 hours. And then, knock on wood, you're back in the 239 for good.
Yeah, for the foreseeable future, that's for sure. Pretty excited. I've got to be honest. It's gotten so long that I didn't know this day was going to come, but fortunately things have worked out better than I could have ever imagined. And, yeah, the doctor called yesterday, or the doctor's office called and said, "Can you move your appointments up?" I went, "No."
No,
What do you mean? You told me I'd go home for the weekend. That means I'm coming back on Tuesday. I cannot be there at noon. I got work to do. We'll keep the appointments where they are. I mean, very rarely do you get doctors calling up that they want to move your appointment up. And I'm like, no. As a matter of fact, I'm good.
Yeah. I don't want to sound like a jerk, but I can't get there until I'm supposed to be there.
Got a celebratory dinner tonight in Tampa with a friend, one of our friends. So that'll be great to see him. He's been terrific through all of this. So it'll be nice to to see him one last time while I'm in Tampa. And then, I finish tomorrow afternoon. And because I have to go under tomorrow, I get some good drugs. The wife has to drive home. So on top of everything, I'm not supposed to be driving yet. Whoops, keep that between us.
Right. Just theoretically.
Right. I have to ease back into driving. I was told after day 90, I can drive around the neighborhood or up to Tampa at about 83 miles per hour.
Right.
Or down to Northport, there tend to be police.
You may want to tell them it's actually more dangerous to drive around the neighborhood than it is to go up and down I-75. You know, the whole stats, most accidents happen within 5 miles of home.
Exactly. So we moved. But yeah, this is going to be a pretty big couple of days. And, the Hope Lodge has been terrific. We check out of there tomorrow and make our way back to the 239 for the foreseeable future. I've said it a million times. I've absolutely loved Tampa, despite the reason that I was there. And, I look forward to visiting more now as someone who has a little idea where he's going, what he's doing now. I didn't have much of a clue. I knew how to get to the Ray J. I knew how to get to what Benchmark or whatever the hell they call that place now. And, the Trop was in St. Pete. So we'll worry about a new venue for the Rays down the road, but have a little more. And now I really want it to be brutally honest. The one thing I think I'm going to do for certain, even though it breaks every rule I have as a sports fan, there's part of me that wants to see the opening of USF's football stadium.
Oh, that'll be hot.
It will be, but just seeing the work and I think the pride that they're going to have for that on campus and all the people who work there, I think it's going to be a big deal. I think that's a great next step for that university. And obviously the past couple of weeks have not been good for that university. If you've paid any attention to what's gone on, it's been absolutely terrible that's the only word you can really use. And then on top of it, they had a fire. So it's not been good for South Florida here the past few weeks, unfortunately, and looking for some bright spots there. But boy, if you stayed up late, you got a great NBA game.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't, you got a blowout.
Yes, you did.
And it was a blowout early.
Yeah. And a lot of times this is how a game one goes when a team plays a 7-game series and they win it on the road and they show up and they either do one of two things, Mark. They either keep on keeping on from, the 3 games in a row that they won, and then they don't have much left in the tank for game 2, or they show up and they're like, yeah, this is too early to get involved in this series. I'm still physically and emotionally getting over the last series. And the opponent in round 2 says, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. We're ready to go.
Well, it's good to know that at least certain Philadelphia fans and certain Philadelphia people, and I don't think it's any of the media we deal with, David, but I continued my conversation with a couple of younger NBA fans last night when at halftime I told them another riveting series, 23 at the half. Thanks. And I got back an Instagram from somebody in the Philly sports world that was complaining that game 1 started so soon after game 7. David, can I say out loud in my Clint Eastwood voice, I hate all of them.
Well, I don't think you should hate all of them.
Softest period, generation period, ever period.
But they take a long time to play the first round. There are off days in the first round because there are so many games that TV actually needs to push certain games back. But once you start getting to the second round in both hockey and basketball, yeah, it's every other day, man. It's every other day, unless you're lucky enough to finish the series before your opponent. It's every other day, and it's been that way forever. You could tell this fan. I mean, it goes back to the Lakers won a conference final in 7 one year, and that's why the famous Memorial Day massacre. Okay, they won Game 7 in the conference finals on a Saturday night and had to play Monday afternoon in Boston in Game 1 of the NBA Finals and got beat by like 34. I mean, you know why? It's a TV show. And it was a TV show back in the 80s, too. CBS had booked the finals. Okay, this is when it was going to start. This is when it was going to end. Game 1 was going to be Memorial Day afternoon. Okay, so don't go 7 in the conference final, okay? Because we're playing Monday late afternoon, Boston.
Well, I don't want to trigger anyone this morning, so I apologize for the language I used. I don't know if they'll need a safe space later in the day to get ready for Game 2.
Oh, look at this.
But tough night for Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Because the Sixers were done late first quarter, and the Flyers blew a golden opportunity.
Yeah, they did.
And then, then they played a great overtime.
Uh-huh.
I mean, they did. They dominated the overtime, and all of a sudden, one possession in their end ends up in the back of the net, and they're down 2 spit. And you didn't give them much of a shot in this series anyhow, but man, they jump up 2 spit early. They look good, and they just couldn't hold on. Fact of the matter is they're playing a better team, and they went through a long period where they seemed to have no opportunities and then poured it on in the overtime. And Anderson made some good saves. I think there was a post there. And, well, Carolina up 2-0 in that series quickly.
Listen, this is what I would tell Sixers fans. Okay, first off, you lost 2 games in the Boston series by 32 each. Okay, who cares if it's 1 or 30, whatever. Secondly, don't you want the Knicks to get it out of their system? You think they're going to shoot 63% a game the rest of this series? How many times do you think they're going to shoot over 50% from beyond the arc? I mean, seriously. If I'm a Sixers fan, I would have been sitting there in the fourth quarter going, make them all. Make them all. But that's just me.
Oh, David, everything that you say, I 100% agree with. I don't have a dog in the fight. I want to be entertained.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of these series, the Detroit series, there was 2 games inside of 10 points. The Boston-Philadelphia series, for a 7-game series, there was 2 games inside of 10 points. I didn't make it for the late game. That was a hell of a game. I think it was tied at the half. I went to bed early third. It was tied. And I'm just like, no, I can't do it. It's 20 after 11. I got a long day today. I don't have it. And, Ant comes back. They play a great game. They get up 4, couple of buckets. Actually, I think they were up 6, couple of buckets late by San Antonio. They miss a shot. San Antonio's got a 3 to win. And I mean, as a fan, that's what we want to see. That's all. That you're right. Everything, it doesn't matter how many you lose by in the post. Doesn't make a damn bit. It doesn't matter in the regular season. But from a standpoint of watchability, it wasn't a watchable game last night.
No, it wasn't. But how about Anthony Edwards? Not supposed to play for another week. Okay, the players on the team didn't know. They thought he might try, but they didn't know if he'd be able to. He didn't start. And obviously he's a starter. So they brought him off the bench because he said, I want to give it a shot. And he played 25 minutes, scored 18 points, 11 in the fourth. I'll tell you what, Mark, I said it 2 years ago. That's your guy's Maxey, my guy's AE. I love him.
I understand how. This is just an East Coast bias out of this particular sports talk show host. I don't stay up that late to watch Anthony Edwards play. Plays a lot of games on the West Coast. That's simple as that. And the T-Wolves aren't on TV that much. The
I know.
Sixers are on more. I don't have the package for the NBA. If you have to block yourself at so many packages.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that what July's for? Isn't July when we sit down and figure out, okay, between the sports and the movies, which ones do we need? Which ones do I want to keep before football? I think my cable bill is $8,139 a month. I think I got to get rid of a few of these.
No doubt. No doubt whatsoever. We'll go across the sports scene today. Eli Zaret will join us to talk some Detroit sports. They had some bad news yesterday. Oh, boy. Pat Kirwan to talk the NFL. And Craig Carton will talk some New York sports with John Sterling passing and everything going on there. The starting five, 25 minutes away.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, Empire, I didn't have it in me. I think it was 11-27 mid-third, and it was still a tied game, and I knew it was going to be a good game. Wemby was terrific. I think the third ever triple-double with blocks in playoff history. Yeah, I got to go to a better place to get my highlights, DC. I tried watching this morning, and I used the Score app and read everything really quickly, and they didn't have a highlight from the third quarter on. So I was like, really? I'm sure ESPN has them. I didn't get there. I'm taking the luxury of sleeping in a little bit later now that I'm doing the show here. Right. That's the thing. I don't need 16 minutes of highlights. I need like 3. But I could have looked a little harder because even YouTube's are a little long. They have like 2 versions usually. And if I have time, I'll go into them. YouTube's got like a 6-minute one and then like a 17, 18-minute one.
No, EB. No, EB. I do like 12 to 15 shows a year. Just when his co-host can't make it. There's no rhyme or reason. And sometimes there's no notice. Sometimes you're woken out of a sound sleep. I like that. I like that. Big fan of sound effects, Mark. You know that. Did you get that that Q&A from the Leaf Espresso I sent you?
Yeah. You mean the Q? The two articles in the Athletic. The one article in the Athletic is titled "The Leafs Are Not a Serious Franchise." I mean, it was a Moulton-esque attack for 40 seconds with a 2-second question. Here's all the things that I hate about this decision. Why did you make it? And by the way, if I don't like your answer, everybody in the room has given me permission for a follow-up.
Listen, I've called around the league, and this is what they've said about the guy you just hired. Biz says he's done.
I saw that. The only thing he missed in that questioning was the only reason this guy had a job for the last 5 years and 3 months was because of a family business. I mean, that's really the only thing I didn't learn about how much this guy's hated in those, well, question and a half, if you will.
Wasn't he working at like Wendy's?
Yeah, his family owns him.
Right.
They own 50 Wendy's and a bunch of Tim Hortons. It's a family business.
But he's been out of hockey 6 years, right?
5 years and 3 months. Or yeah, that's that. Yeah, exactly. That's what he's done. He worked for the family. You failed. You get to be a job running the family business now.
And I mean, up on stage is Matt Sundin, arguably the greatest Maple Leaf of all time.
We have 5 till we're back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. The starting 5 in a little more than 15 minutes time. Nice show lined up for you today. Eli Zaret to talk the Detroit sports scene. Pat Kirwan, the NFL. Craig Carton, the New York sports scene. Do we want to spend any time on that press conference in Toronto?
Well, can I just preface it with a personal story that will lead to part of this, David?
Be my
Because
guest.
I got a TikTok from my son yesterday.
Okay.
And it was a little video. I don't think it was a meme because that's Sala. I guess is that a GIF when I get a little bit of a movie. And it was basically thanks for installing a work ethic in me instead of generational wealth.
Wow.
And he put a ha-ha underneath it, but he works for family and they got the job because, well, they were born. And there are from time to time instances when that bothers him a bit because of the silver spoon mentality.
Sure.
And you and I have gone through that personally in our lives of working for that type of situation. So I get it. But I bring that up because the one thing about the Leafs' new Grand Poobah, is he the GM? Is that his official title? Because they didn't hire a president.
Well, did they hire Matt Sundin technically as president?
No, he got a completely different title. He did not get the same title as Shanahan. He got a director of something. It's not.
Gotcha.
Because this guy, I think, might be director of hockey ops. and he's reporting right to the guy from Maple Leaf Sports Enterprises
Right.
who hired him. So I don't even know if they have a GM per se, but that's his job. He's the general manager. He's in charge of assembling the hockey team.
Right. Of the Toronto Maple Leafs,
Right.
which is a BFD north of the border. I would equate it to Red Sox / Cubs. Can't be the Yankees. The Canadians are the Yankees. Okay. But, they're the Red Sox and the Cubs before they won and broke the curse.
Right. And I think they're closer to the Yankees only because they're the most popular team in the country.
Correct.
You're right. From a standpoint of history and wins, it's the Canadians. But the most popular team in all of Canada is the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Right.
And the new general manager, John Chayka, he was the GM, assistant GM of the Arizona Coyotes.
Who are now the Utah Mammoth, by the way.
And when the GM was fired, he was promoted to general manager at the age of 26, becoming the youngest general manager, I believe, ever in pro sports, certainly in hockey. He was the youngest GM in league history. Now, he ended up getting suspended for a year in hockey because he was pursuing another job while still under contract. The team, because of that, had to forfeit a number 1 and a number 2 draft pick because of his ineptness and not understanding the rules of his job. They were also fined or suspended a draft pick because he ran essentially illegal camps before the draft. Now, you may think it's great that he was a rule breaker and tried things, but they sucked under him as a general manager. They missed the playoffs by a long shot every year. He had 2 good draft picks. The rest of the time there was pretty much hot garbage.
Yep.
He is now running the most popular team in Canada. It's not being received well. And by not well, I've never seen the media attack like this off the hop.
Mark, if I could just interject with a question to try to fill in another blank. So when this guy got let go from the Arizona Coyotes till he got hired yesterday with the Toronto Maple Leafs, what was he doing in hockey?
He was running the family business.
Well, what's the family business?
They own around 50 Wendy's in Canada, and they own some Tim Hortons. That's a donut and coffee shop for those that don't know. Apparently pretty good. But he's basically their franchisees. They've got 50 Wendy's. They've got a handful of Tim Hortons, and he was the CEO of the family business. That's why I brought up the generational wealth comment at the beginning of this segment. I'm trying to figure out, David, help me, whether it's the Red Sox, the Cubs, the Yankees, who's the I don't give a damn, the Steelers. Who's the comp higher here? Because I don't know if there is one. And you pay attention to GMs more than I do. I don't dive into every team the way you do. So help me with a comp if there is one.
Well, first off, I don't think there's a comp to this. Okay, 5.5 years completely out of the sport. Okay, and he's running Wendy's franchises. And now he's brought back in not to be a scout with the Maple Leafs, not to help out in the front office because he believes in analytics of the Maple Leafs. He's brought in to run the Toronto Maple Leafs. Mark, the only thing, and you're going to have to help me with the name so we got to go back almost 20 years. Orlando's got the number 1 pick of the draft, and didn't the Magic for 1 year hire a guy out of baseball to be their general manager? and they had the number 1 pick of the draft that year, and he had to choose. He had no basketball experience. And for 1 year, he's running the Magic. And during that year, they end up with the number 1 pick, and he ends up having to choose between Dwight Howard and Emeka Okafor. And he chose Howard when every basketball guy was saying, oh, you got to take the consistent, sure thing from UConn there. Okay. And it turns out he was right. And then an hour and a half after making that pick, I think he went back to baseball.
I guess the other one, when you got into baseball, this is the Browns who decided when they started running their franchise correctly with John Dorsey to bring in baseball analytic guys to run the team.
Paul DePodesta, I believe they took from baseball, and he's still, I think, running the Browns.
By the way, Matt Sundin is the senior executive advisor of hockey operations, and he's brought in to help with culture and player development. And I'm not joking when I'm telling you what he's brought, but he has no hockey experience either.
No.
They wanted to, because Brendan Shanahan worked there for a long time. And Brendan Shanahan had no front office experience. But after his playing career, he worked for the NHL front office for a few years. So at least there was some executive experience under his belt. But David, not only like this, the title of the article I have in The Athletic by Jonas Siegel, it's an opinion piece. It's a column like you used to write. The Maple Leafs aren't operating like a serious hockey team. That's in The Athletic. They don't even give a damn about hockey.
But there was a question asked. I think this is top 5 moment in press conference history. One of the Toronto reporters, and he identified himself. He said, John Smith, whatever. Hey, I've called around hockey for the last 3 days when it was rumored that you were going to make this hire. And 20 people, this is what they had to say about who it is you just hired. And he reads off one adjective after another, none of them good. A liar, a cheat, okay, a blank, a blip, a blop, a bloop. And he says, what do you have to say about that? And the guy says, well, we must have talked to different people.
Yeah, this could go down as one of the worst hires in sports history. The starting 5, that's next.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best,
Be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I have to laugh, David. I watched the first, I don't know, 3 minutes of PTI yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't ever watch that anymore, but I happened to have I happened to turn the TV on. ESPN was on. And yesterday was National Bird Day, so they're going to the same site we are. And Wilbon asks Kornheiser what his favorite bird is, and without even, he goes, Sue, Larry, and yes, E.B. Hill, Jerry Faust had at least coached football successfully. This guy was a GM and failed miserably. But it's good participation points with Jerry Faust. I will definitely give you that.
Free Frosties if they score 5 or more goals. I mean, golly. If I could be serious for 30 seconds, this gives Austin Matthews his out. See, he can now go to the front office and say, I want out, and he won't get crushed nearly as badly.
No, he actually will. They'll be like, see what you did? They'll blame the front office.
And Austin Matthews can say, I grew up in Arizona. I know what a joke this guy was. If I'm Austin Matthews' agent, I'm doing the happy dance. It's like, oh my God. I can ask for a trade now and people can go, see? By the way, Mark, Tampa's got more cap room because what I saw was comparing their number to this year. But since the cap's going up significantly, I guess they're going to have like 13 million.
And what I read yesterday, one person of the things I read on Tampa, and none of them were in Tampa papers. These were all The Athletic and a few other things I was reading. Only one suggested trading Kucherov, but even in that article, it says, to his knowledge, their plan is to extend him. Don't worry, Brian. We got you. If that's your worst mishap, we can figure out who you're talking about.
Well, Brian, he has a no move clause. Okay, so he has to waive it. And if I'm Matthews, I ain't wasting one more year in Toronto. With the Gong Show? No. I'm good.
I have to correct something here before you get going. We've got like 3 seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Eli Zaret in an hour. Pat Kirwan in a little more than an hour. And we'll head to New York to talk to Craig Carton in a couple hours' time here on Miller and Moulton.
Just to finish that off, he had to say, this is Cheka, the new GM in Toronto. When he left Arizona, they had to forfeit their first and second round picks for 2 years. For 2 years. So they lost 4 draft picks because of his cheating. And there have also been 25 general managers hired in the time since he quit Arizona. And he has not been hired by any franchise in any capacity during that time.
And,
good luck, Toronto.
And the people who own the Maple Leafs hired this guy to run the Toronto Maple Leafs, not like a single A franchise, you know, like here, you need to pay your dues since you didn't the first time. Go, you know, I mean, they're not even putting them in charge of, what is it, the Toronto Marlies?
Well, and it's funny, I have a friend who coaches the Marlies. He's their head coach. It's one of my best friend's brother-in-law. Played in the league, played in Europe. Run, John, run. I'm telling you, get out now. Take whatever. You were an assistant in the show. Get back to being on the bench with an NHL team. Leave, run. Do what you got to do, my man.
And if I'm Austin Matthews, I request a trade now and say I'm waiving my no-move clause. I ain't staying here for 2 more years. I want out, and I want out now.
Yeah, and I'm giving you 10 teams I'm moving to, too. I'm going to be a jerk about this. I'm not going to certain places.
20 minutes before the hour. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
We'll start with the NBA. The Magic fired head coach Jamal Mosley yesterday. 5 years on the job. Made the playoffs a few times. Never won a playoff series, including blowing the 3-1 lead against Detroit last week. But the most significant thing, Mark, is Orlando president Jeff Weltman said, quote, "I do not want to dismantle the team," unquote. They are counting on a healthy Franz Wagner. Because they said when he was healthy, we were up 3-1 on Detroit. And when the guys were healthy this year, we were top 5 in defense and top 10 in offense. So they're talking about same old in Orlando. I'll be curious who they hire as coach. Billy Donovan's available.
The irony there is just something.
It would be spectacular. Tom Thibodeau's available. Hell, some guy who's been running Central Florida Wendy's for the last 5-6 years is probably available.
Well done.
Thank you. Pistons extended the contract of head coach J.B. Bickerstaff. That's interesting. That means they were working on it while they were trailing Orlando 3-1. Give credit to the organization for that. Game 1, Knicks Sixers, all New York, up 23 at the half. They shot 63% for the game, 51% for beyond the arc. Philly looked tired. It's as if they had went 7 with Boston recently. 137-98 New York. Brunson with 35 in the win. Anthony Edwards returned and put on his cape for the Timberwolves. Came off the bench, 25 minutes, scored 18 points, 11 of them in the fourth when they were trailing. AE led the Timberwolves to a come-from-behind 104-102 win in San Antonio. Yeah, baby. Yeah. All right. Cleveland, Detroit, game 1 tonight, 7 o'clock. NBCSN. Pistons a 3.5-point favorite. Game 1, Lakers, OKC, 8:30 on NBC. OKC a 15.5-point favorite. Wow. NHL. Flyers jumped out to a 2-0 lead 5 minutes into the game. Couldn't hold off Carolina. It goes overtime. They dominate the OT. Carolina has one good shift. Score. Canes 3-2 in OT. They lead the series 2-spit. Controversial game-winning goal for Vegas. Ivan Barbashev with the game winner. They added an empty netter, beat Anaheim in game 1, 3-1. Game 2, Minnesota, Colorado. They scored 15 goals, Mark, in game 1. What do you put the over-under at in game 2?
7.5.
Oh, come on.
Okay, 6.5.
Really? You think they'll tighten it up that much?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't put it. Where were you going to put it? When I said 7.5, you think it should be higher than that? You think it's 8.5, 9.5?
Well, I'm talking about for the two teams. They scored 15 goals in game 1. Yeah, I think 9.5 easy.
Yeah, it's 6.5.
Oh, I'd go way over.
Okay.
You're going under?
You asked me where I'd put it at. I'd put it at 7.5.
Okay.
Right now, the line I've got is 6.5.
12 baseball games last night. Over 11,000 at the Trop to watch the Rays win their 4th in a row. Ryan Velarde with a 3-run homer in the first. Tampa Bay 5-1 over Toronto.
Pitching starting to show up.
Oh, yes, it is. And guess what? They're winning. Huh. Imagine that.
They've won
there
9
was-
of their last 10, David, and they've gained a whole game on the Yankees.
Right, because they've won 14 of 16. They just completed a 4-game sweep of the Orioles 12-1. Mark, I know it's early, but when you lose a 4-game series to like the team you're supposed to be competitive with, and you lose it 39-10, I don't know about you, Mark, but usually within a week, somebody gets fired.
I gotcha. At the same time, the Yankees are beating everybody that way. I believe there's only one team in the league that's allowed less runs. It's the Dodgers. There's only a couple of teams that have scored more runs. I mean, what they're doing is ridiculous.
Yeah, they're
The
the best team.
Braves have scored more runs. I don't see anybody else. And the Dodgers have allowed less runs.
12-1 Yankees over the Orioles. Really bad day in Detroit. Before the game, the Tigers find out that Skubal needs left elbow surgery. This just in, he's left-handed. He's got bone spurs or something, and what are they talking, 3 months?
3 months. And I'll make a prediction right now. It's longer than that because there's no way he and his agent are going to come back early with his pending free agency.
But he does need to come back and show that he's healthy. But 3 months, obviously, is early August. And then the Red Sox scored 5 in the 7th to beat the Tigers 5-4. Duran with the 3-run homer for Boston. Phillies took 3 of 4 for the Marlins. Bryce Harper with the homer. Aaron Nola with 6 shutout innings. 1-0 Philadelphia before 7,626. And what did they say? Like 176 dogs? Because I thought it was bring your
167 dogs, 76, 26 humans, 167 dogs.
There you go. And we thank you all for coming and get
Have
home
a treat.
safely. Right. Seattle with 5 in the 6 beat Atlanta 5-4. Mets with 4 in the 6 beat Colorado 4-2. The Cubs with 2 in the 9th, and the final run was a pinch hit, walk-off Michael Conforto home run. Cubs 5-4 over the Reds, who have suddenly lost 4 in a row. How about the Cardinals? They've won 7 of 8. They're in second place in the Central. They doubled up Milwaukee 6-3. Kyle Tucker, a homer for the Dodgers. He used to play for the Astros. Dodgers beat the Astros 8-3. Giants snapped a 6-game skid. They beat the Padres 3-2. Royals have won 4 in a row and 8 of 10. They beat Cleveland 6-2. They've won 8 of 10, and they're still like, 8 games below 500, something like that? I mean, they got off to a horrendous start. And the White Sox, that Murakami guy's hit his 14th home run. Mark, he's on pace for 64. They beat it the Angels 6-0, who have lost 13 of 15. NFL, Packers signed 36-year-old quarterback Tyrod Taylor to be their backup to Jordan Love. Once they signed Tyrod, they released Desmond Ridder, who on paper was the backup to Jordan Love. Patrick Mahomes, remember he torn ACL, torn LCL in the left knee? Yeah, Andy Reid says he's going to participate in minicamp next month. Now, Andy then did say it's no contact, and it's no offense versus defense either. I mean, it's just kind of standing and a little bit of movement and throwing the ball around. But that he's going to participate in it. And then, we'll see when he can participate again.
Well, we know Andy calls the plays, but a new OC, so that probably all that is to me is they're installing something new they want him to see.
But Mark, even with the new installation, it'll be nothing but pass plays, very few run. So
there you have it.
I appreciate the, Andy Reid not running the ball humor. Just, This is interesting. I'm wondering why he did this. Did he do this to get released? Anthony Richardson showed up yesterday at Colts workouts. See, if you're the Colts, now his contract's guaranteed no matter what. He's on the roster, it's guaranteed. You cut him, it's guaranteed. So maybe it doesn't matter if he gets hurt. But remember, this is a guy who got hurt before a game in the weight room and missed the whole season. So I'm curious. Richardson, who had said, well, there's no reason for me to show up, trade me. Okay. He showed up yesterday at Colts workouts. Would you trade a 7th round pick for Anthony Richardson?
Oh, I mean, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other to me. I mean, because he's done after this year. You didn't give him the 5th year. Hurt, like you said, hurt, not hurt, it doesn't matter. So to me, I might keep him as an insurance policy as my 3rd guy in case things go wrong. So I have someone to take some snaps in camp.
But I'm just curious, is there a team out there who was high on him 4 years ago in the draft and is willing to throw the Colts, a conditional 7th rounder to bring him in for the year?
Miami, hello.
And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories you need to know here on Miller and Moulton.
I do want to play my favorite game right now, and that is for you folks at home. David, I know you know the answer, so give the fans a chance to get their own. Last night, Detroit and Cleveland both lost. How many teams in the American League are over 500?
Ooh,
Ooh.
Oh, I know that you know. That is cheating. And all right, David, I'll let you do it. Go ahead. What's our answer?
I think it's 3.
Congratulations, David. You win. 3 American League teams right now over 500. We've had a rule on this show for quite some time, and that's you cannot bring up a team that's under 500, even though we've been doing so lately. But the White Sox, who you mentioned with the guy, the 26-year-old rookie there that they brought from Japan, hitting home runs right and left, they're a game under 500, which means they're a half of game out of first place in the division. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hey, daughter brought up a piece of banana bread and told me that the wife said you have to eat before your pills. I think it was the first piece out of the loaf, too. It's pretty good. I'm not going to lie. She made it yesterday. I did see a funny story. Ed O'Neill was talking about being at a Super Bowl party that John Lovitz hosted. And Farley showed up late, and they had he had like a big spread apparently of food. And Lovitz was all over Farley to not eat everything. And everybody already had food. He was like the last guy there. So Farley's in the kitchen and the game's about to start. And Farley hadn't come out. And all of a sudden, apparently Farley had taken a loaf of bread and sliced it the long ways, like an Italian loaf of bread, and opened it up, loaded it with every condiment that was in the kitchen, and walked out into the living room with Lovitz's cat inside the loaf of bread with condiments all over the cat, and said, I can eat whatever I want to. Which I thought was pretty funny. Yeah, no, banana bread, Paul. I was very specific. My mother makes banana nut bread. Daughter doesn't like nuts. Wife makes banana bread. Very much different. I like both, but I don't need the nuts. And would it have been better with a little butter on it? Probably. I'll save the calories. Did you happen to watch the first 90 seconds of that video I sent you?
Yeah.
That was that guy, and he ended up having a pretty bad drinking problem, but for the longest time, that guy was the number one television anchor. That's not a sports guy either. That's a news host. And that was a takedown. Like
Yeah,
he was big in Detroit. That guy was, I think it was the Channel 7 in Detroit, because I would get him on cable when I moved to college, and we got the one Detroit channel.
Well, I was impressed. We're doing the commentary before we do the news.
He opened
the newscast.
Opened the news. Is it Bill Bonds? If I'm saying Paula,
Yes.
Bill Bonds, I believe is the, yeah. He was on I think the ABC 7 maybe, but I know it was Channel 7. Right, Paul? Like that was the guy, right?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this first Tuesday of May, Cinco de Mayo. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Eli Zaret to talk the Detroit sports scene in about 35 minutes. Pat Kirwan to talk the NFL in an hour. And we'll talk the passing of John Sterling and what he meant to many a New York sports fan. And maybe touch on the Knicks with Craig Carton in about 90 minutes' time. But just checking in.
It's not really a sports question, David. And I think I've asked you this before. I think I know the answer. But since we don't really do concerts anymore, well, because they're too damn expensive and there aren't as many new acts worth going to see. I'm sure there are some. There are a handful of acts I would love to see that are out right now. Missed one in Tampa because I'm not allowed to be in crowds. But it's National Concert Day. Mm-hmm. And I was last week because I've got my box of stubs here that I dug out of my pile. Like, I don't have a lot of stuff. I all my years in sports, I can put in a shoebox. That's basically the end of the day where I can put. I didn't save a lot of things. But I do have a bunch of concert stubs. And the best act that I ever saw was Stevie Ray Vaughan opening for Robert Plant. The best headliner I ever saw was Guns N' Roses on the precipice of being the biggest band in the world. They were right there. And about within the next month, Sweet Child of Mine came out as a single, and they were then the biggest band in the world. What's your a national concert day? What's your favorite concert, best concert you've been to?
U2, Hartford, Walling College. It's the closest thing I've ever been to in which I thought I was at a religious event. U2 and Bono had us so mesmerized. It's not a huge arena, the Hartford Civic Center. I think it's around 15,000, especially then, although the Whalers were still playing there at the time. And Mark, when the concert was over, directed us to be hand in hand and singing while leaving the arena. And 15,000 of us at 10 o'clock on whatever night it was, I think it was a Saturday, walked out onto the streets of Hartford holding hands, singing. I've never been a part of anything like that before, ever. Okay, now granted, I was 19, 20 years old. Maybe it was my youth, but, you know, I saw a Springsteen concert in Tampa. It was the first show after Federici had died. It was very emotional. He brought out a lot of childhood videos of the two of them. Okay, the night was packed with emotion. He played for well over 3 hours. And my bronze medalist, I saw Melissa Etheridge, and she is phenomenal. And she did a show, and it was an outdoor concert too, and it was just one of those great summer nights. And so that would probably be off the top of my head my top three.
All right.
And I saw more famous acts, than Melissa Etheridge, but it was she just put on an amazing show.
Yeah, I would have a tough time coming up with the bronze because I've seen all these big shows and big venues. Been lucky enough to see the Grateful Dead 5 different times, which was cool. But I think I know more about the Dead now than when I saw them, so that doesn't really make my cut. But I saw Joe Jackson at a place called the Power Center in Ann Arbor. I happen to be a monster Joe Jackson fan, but it was a small venue, and he was playing all clubs on that tour and mostly bars. And very early on, he's like, wow, this is a cool room. We've been playing bars mostly, like big bars. And so they were in a small theater, and the room had great sound, and that was very cool. And the other one, I did see Sinatra at the Fox Theater in Detroit.
Oh,
now,
wow.
Frank was old. It was
Sure.
with Tammy and Liza. It was, at near the end, but seeing Sinatra, I think has to make my list.
I would like to think so. At least an honorable mention so
Right.
that people could look at your list and go, holy blank, you saw Old Blue Eyes?
Right. So 21,000 Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. If you've got a good concert story, I'll take it. A buddy of mine made me listen to a podcast that he was a guest on. And I grew up with this guy. I've known Doug since I was 3 or 4 years old. And I know most everything about him, including that he is a world famous, not only softball pitcher, but a softball pitching coach. He's coached like 100 All-Americans. He's a terrific coach. Coached at the D1 level, now just runs an academy and is running an academy. Doug's 60. I think he's the same age as you, David. And he's been doing this since he was 20. I mean, for 40 years, he's been teaching softball. So I didn't really need to listen to this podcast, but he asked me to. And we've kind of gotten contact based on what's been going on with me. And the only thing I learned at the end of it was this was something new for me because they asked him, they usually ask a hidden talent, these guys that do it, which I thought was a fun question. And he goes, I'm not going hidden talent. He was like, I know a little about you. And the guy, Doug, was a little miffed. And he said, what's the 3 best concerts you've been to? And he only gave 2. He gave a Springsteen at Madison Square Garden, which was just because it was at Madison Square Garden. And we're both from Saginaw, Michigan. So Springsteen at the Garden, that's special. But he saw Prince at the United Center in Chicago and had a ticket that he spent $75 on to the after hours party. And Prince showed up, and the night before, apparently at the United Center, the power had gone out, and the show was delayed. So Prince was a little unhappy and basically showed up at the after hours and left. Well, he showed up the next night at the after hours, and at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, he started playing. And he made them turn the house lights out, basically, because he was a mess. The hair was, he wasn't Prince that we see on stage. And he played for 2.5 hours at the Fox Theater, or at I think the House of Blues. And it was like 3:30 in the morning when Doug said he walked out. I'm like, Seth's talked about that, because Seth's seen a bunch of Prince after hours shows.
Right.
But when you get to see an act, whether you saw him early in their career, you were lucky enough. Bruce is famous for us.
I was there. I was there one time when he showed up at the Stone Pony. Yeah. And it's like, holy blank. We're not leaving now. How long are we staying? For as long as he does.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. A guy I worked with the Atlanta Knights, went to school at Georgia. REM showed up one night at the 40 Watt Club in Athens.
Oh my goodness.
They played under, they said, we're a band, and they said, we're called the F Word. I obviously can't say that on air. And we're going to play 12 songs. And he just happened to be there that night. Like, those are the stories that floor me.
Totally.
So National Concert Day, you can send in, your favorites. Chris said he was at the Zeppelin show in Tampa. I believe the one in 77, that was at the football stadium. That had like 57,000 people at it. So, you can send that in. If they're good enough, I may even read them. All of you that saw Zeppelin, I'm jealous. I will just tell you that.
No question. I am curious, by the way, does anybody have a concert experience from within the last 10 years or even this decade? Like, I will say, Mark, I don't know if it would make my honorable mention, but my daughter and we saw the Killers in a little indoor place in Orlando. And I mean, I was standing right there front row. It's been a long time since I was front row at a concert. And here I was in my 50s.
Did they think you were working?
Yes, I think they thought I was security. Okay. And so that's how we got to the front. And my daughter was just smart enough to follow the old man. I don't know why they're moving, but
got a lead blocker. Let's go.
Yeah,
That's how I get to the front. Follow the big guy if he's making his way up there.
Is this what a fullback's all about? Okay, I'll run off his hip. But yeah, so we were, on the floor, front row for the Killers. And, I'm a big Killers fan. And so is she. So
I've seen a couple in the last. Chris Stapleton, when he played Hertz, was terrific. And it was a great show. It was a little tame because he can go either way. He can rock. This tour happened to be a little more intimate, and it was great because I went with my wife, and it was a terrific show. And I saw the Foo Fighters in the last 10 years, and that was a lot of fun. He did they started playing Imagine, and he's talking all this kumbaya stuff, and I'm going, what's he doing? Because it didn't fit. And he's everybody hand in hand, and then they sang Jump while the tune of Imagine was playing, Jump by Van Halen. And I thought that was pretty funny. But they were excellent, put on a really good show. So National Concert Day, just threw that out there. Make you reminisce about your great shows that you've been to.
And I was lucky because I grew up in a part of the country that everybody played. And it was an honor to them. They were like, the Garden? Yeah, I'll play the Garden. I mean, I saw Bryan Adams, his first ever show at Madison Square Garden, and he said, this is my dream. He looked out at everybody and he said, you're all part of my dream. This is what I dreamed lying in bed, trying to go to sleep as a kid in Canada. It was to do this one night. So you're all a part of my dream. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. And I think the coolest thing in the world is not throwing or catching the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl or, walking off a World Series. I think the coolest thing in the world is when 20,000 people sing your song back to you. That to me is the best.
And I agree with you that it's incredibly cool. And at the same time, I pay to hear them sing. And I recently went to see Zach Bryan a few years ago with my son. And it's a bunch of 17, 18-year-old girls screaming every song. I'm like, I really paid this much money to hear them sing every song? But I get it. There's no doubt it's special when you're at that level, when they're singing back to you. You've obviously achieved something that not many people in this world can achieve.
And you're right. I don't like it when they're singing in place of the artist. I like it when the artist does his chorus and then they stop and he just kind of looks at the crowd like, you want a shot at it? And then they sing it to him and he goes, not bad. And then they go back to playing.
So National Concert Day, Pelican Roofing of Florida, text lines 21,000. If you've never texted the show before, you need to text the keyword Miller to 21,000 and then let it rip. Eli Zaret to talk the Detroit sports scene in 25 minutes. Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
That was one more spot than should have ran. I got to look at that. I don't know what was in there that I don't know, but I wasn't really paying attention. Somehow 5 spots ran. Wondered why that went so long. Not to be a jerk, but I'm going to be a jerk. Actually, to be a jerk. Let's say that correctly. To be a jerk, Eddie Cheese. I'm trying to decide if it was between seeing Kenny Chesney or a regular season game between, I don't know, the current Sacramento Kings and Utah Jazz. I don't know which I'd pick. I might go with the NBA game, depending on where the seats were.
I would like to amend my list and drop Melissa Etheridge down to honorable mention because I did see Van Halen at the Garden in 1984. And I got to put that as...
And Axe, that's hysterical. And EB, you don't lose your man card for seeing Elton John.
No.
You might lose it if you slept with him, but not for seeing him. I
No.
saw Elton John at Hertz with just the piano. Obviously, 750 people would be way cooler, but Elton John is tremendous in concert. Like a lot of people are giving me the Stones and these big shows. I've seen all these big shows. Bruce, Pink Floyd, Rolling Stones, David Bowie, all at the Silverdome. Sound in those places sucks to me.
I would love for you to take in a show at the Garden.
I would
really
love
would.
for me to. I might. I mean, I'd love to. My wife's going to see Bon Jovi this summer at the Garden.
Yeah, so are we. Curious if we'll be at the same show.
I'm just happy I don't have to go.
I know you are.
But right now, like my wish list are all country. Sturgill Simpson, Tyler Childers, and Billy Strings is more bluegrass than country, but those are the three people I want to see more than anybody right now. I can't think of a rock band I'd want to go see right now. The Killers would be cool. I would love to see them.
They put on a good show. Not great, but good.
And Axe, that's hilarious, by the way. It's not sing along with Greg Hour.
When are they going to let you see a concert again?
Don't know. I'm going to ask today. My buddy is planning a party in September out in Oregon. I would like to attend. That's my first ask if I'm going to be able to travel. I don't even know who Galactic is. The Snow Patrol was the other one that someone said. I have no idea. Galactic? I don't even know who you're talking about, X. Yeah, Jason Isabel. I would see. Yeah, I'm not going to a party for 5 hours and wearing a mask, Paula. That doesn't sound like fun to me to be outside wearing a mask. Sorry. Oh, I will on the plane.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Eli Zaret in a little more than 15 minutes. We'll talk the Detroit sports scene. Good news, bad news in the last 48 hours. I think the bad news outweighs the good news, but we'll see. Pat Kirwan, top of the hour to talk all things NFL.
Text line, David, you know what happens. We ask a non-sports question. People want to tell their stories. There are a lot of them here. I'll try to get to all of them, but the way our texts come in when they're long, sometimes they're difficult to read. I think this is a great concert story. This was my brother and I's first concert with our dad. It was the Crazy Sexy Cool TLC in Omaha, Nebraska before Left Eye passed. In an effort to make a long story shorter, my brother caught one of the towels that TLC used to wipe off their sweat and proceeded to get dragged around for nearly an hour. He had it yanked away from him, but a security guard saw it and luckily gave it back. And here's why the early 90s were still lovely. Our dad talked the security guards and literally convinced them to let my brother go meet TLC. No joke. They took him to the dressing room and all. We have pictures to prove it. That is a good story.
That's cool.
A sweaty towel from TLC. I mean, it's not the same as a scarf from Elvis, but I see where you're going with that.
But it's honorable mention.
Left eye was hot.
Yes.
Left eye was hot.
Yep. And that was before the fire. Yes. I do need to amend upon further review. I put an outdoor Melissa Etheridge concert as my bronze medalist. I do need to replace that. Going through my mental Rolodex, I was lucky enough to see Van Halen, the 1984 tour, in 1984 at the Garden. And last one with David Lee before, the comebacks and what have you. And it was amazing.
That was first time Eddie started playing the keyboard, though. That was Eddie's keyboard album, 84, when he started. That's Jump, right?
Yeah.
That's when he got it. I mean, hey, look, I'm not knocking any Van Halen show. I'm just saying that was the first time he started messing around with the keyboard.
There's no doubt. They were getting softer. And what attracted me to them was like, running with the devil type music. I mean, give it to me hard. So, yeah. But, I mean, he was a showman. I mean, they put on a show.
He was a great showman. And he's touring now, and it's so bad.
Oh, it's embarrassing.
That people are talking about going to the show literally because of how bad it is.
See, I couldn't do that. I turn away. Okay, sometimes when embarrassing things happen in a movie, okay, or in a sporting event, I literally turn away. I'm like, I can't watch this. Okay. Like Van de Velde was close. I didn't turn away from Van de Velde, but Van de Velde was close.
That is, yes, you're right. That's cringeworthy.
Oh.
And that's apparently what David Lee Roth is on tour right now.
Have you seen and or listened to some of the video that people like who have front row or close to it and they're filming it? It's I mean, somebody close to him needs to say, if I can make an arrangement where they can give you 60% of the money for you not to sing anymore, would you do it?
Well, that won't happen because one, they wouldn't give him the money, and two, he's getting paid and people are showing up.
I guess
it is what it is, but you're right. It is definitely on that cringe scale. 21,000's our Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. I do like this one. Guy says, Zach Bryan at Ray J for me. Took my 13-year-old daughter. It was her first concert. Highlight of my concert going. There you go. I actually looked at a couple of shows because my daughter has two artists who I've never even heard of that are like country YouTubers. One she crushes on. He's a teenager. I'm like, I tried to see if they're coming anywhere where I could take her. So that'll happen for me too here shortly. Unfortunately, it won't be rock and roll. It's just killing me. Took my kid to, the Warp Tour in Tampa. And it was all like punk bands. I knew one band. He was into a couple. And I'm like, I'm letting him go up by the stage. It was hot. It was summer. It was Tampa. They had an air-conditioned tent for parents. When I found that, I was a very happy man. But 4 playoff games last night. Both hockey games were good. The second basketball game was terrific. The first one was a blowout.
Yeah, you're going to get that. Now, if it happens again in game 2, then we've got issues. But, I mean, the Sixers also, they cut their losses. They realized in the third quarter, okay, this ain't happening tonight. And that was it. They were done playing. You take a look at Embiid and Maxey and George and others' minutes. They were all, 23, 25. That's it.
Well, and you have to do that with Embiid because his health is the key if you're going to have any shot in this series.
Totally.
That's what it falls upon. And to the point you made earlier, I don't see the Knicks shooting 60+% in another game in this series.
Right.
And obviously, 50% from beyond the arc. So they exceeded their own expectations for that game. But I will say, I think that Philadelphia defensively is going to struggle with the Knicks. I mean, these games, if Philly's on, these could be games around the 110 mark, if you know what I mean. Because I don't know what answer the other has defensively for, Detroit and Cleveland, first 1 to 100 could win a lot of these games. If Philly and the Knicks have it going on, it might be first 1 to 110, if you know what I mean, David.
Yes, I do. I do. If both teams play their game, it's a very compelling matchup because I don't think either team matches up well when stopping the other.
And that makes, to me, for a much more exciting brand of basketball.
Yeah. But, both teams have to play well. And obviously one team played very well last night and the other team was tired and they didn't. But I'll say it again. The Sixers lost 2 games against the Celtics by 32 points each. And here they are. So it doesn't matter. The one thing that is interesting, though, Mark, and I know it's going to end, the Knicks are on a bender right now. I mean, they have played 4 games in a row in the playoffs at about their A game. I mean, and
oh yeah, because they were down 2-1 to the Knicks and haven't really let off the gas since, or to the Hawks rather.
Well, and it's not just that they've won. I mean, they've played 4 A games in a row. And this group, yes, they've been together a while, and yes, they've achieved some success together, winning some playoff series. But they're basically being given credit because of the 25 years of Knicks basketball before them. But I don't think, Mark, this is like 4 or 5 years together for much of this group. They haven't played 4 games in a row like this. And the other thing, I mean, I'll say game 2's the series besides the obvious, the math. But you look how many times the Knicks very rarely have gone up 2-0 in a series. Even this group, not that good at home. So, Mark, tomorrow night's game is staggeringly important for a bunch of reasons.
Both series, because now San Antonio has pressure on them. Wembanyama plays a great game and they lose.
Right.
Anthony Edwards was supposed to play 18 minutes. He played 25. How's he going to be for game 2? Because they're going to need they only need 4 of them, David, but they're going to need 4 performances out of him to get out of this round.
They're just good and cocky enough to not only think they can win the series, but to win the series. Eli Zaret next on Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience, and With a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Morning, Eli.
Morning. Can you guys hear me? Is my mic working?
Yep.
Yeah,
hear
you
perfect.
sound
Oh,
great.
my lighting looks really bad. Jeez.
Well, so's mine, so don't
I
worry
look
about
like I look like a ghost.
No worries.
Maybe I should shut this light off here. Tell me if this helps. No.
it. Yeah, a little bit.
It's fine.
No.
Either of them. I think the first one was better. That's
There
fine.
you go. You're
There you
fine.
go. Just a heads up, we do our show on YouTube and Twitch, so during the breaks there is a live audience. Just want to, so you know, don't tell any stories out of school. Want to make sure.
Oh, and by the way, you don't need to mention my Twitter handle. I don't do any social media, so don't give me the @Eli, Zaret. I'm just
Okay.
I just don't bother with it. Breaking down the NBA, huh? Don't ask me about hockey. I haven't followed the hockey.
Well, you don't have to because it's the playoffs and the Red Wings are allergic to them.
Oh, jeez. I was looking up another. They had a period where they were called the Dead Wings in the late 60s, 70s, and early 80s, and they went 15 of 18 years without making the playoffs back when 12 out of 18 teams made them. So this is not even their worst stretch ever, but yeah, it is.
Well, what 15 of 18 though? It's their longest consecutive stretch.
Yes, it is.
I'm a die. That's my favorite. You know, it's either the Tigers or the Wings for me because I'm from Michigan originally. So my earliest memories are with the Tigers, but you know, and family and things like that. My first game was a Tigers game, but this is disheartening because when I was, you know, late high school and college is when all the Detroit teams were getting good. I graduated high school in '87, so that's right as the Pistons were starting to make their run. The Red Wings were starting to get good.
Where were you living in Michigan? Where were you?
Born and raised in Saginaw. I went to school at MSU.
Oh, okay. You're a Sparty, huh? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I got a Chicago Blackhawks hat
I
on.
see that.
Excuse me, I couldn't. Blasphemous around here. Scooble, what a story.
Yeah.
No, but I want to talk about because the Pistons were just in an incredible playoff series that,
Yeah.
and it proves you don't know what the hell's going to happen in any of these series.
Mid-game.
Speaking of Michigan, 50th anniversary of Mark Fidrich making his debut.
Is that today?
15th, but they did a story in a magazine here. They interviewed me about it. We were very good friends, me and the Bird.
Boy, what a phenomenon he was.
Yeah, poor kid, great kid. Just really, it was such a shame. They had arthroscopic surgery. He might have had a 20-year career. Couldn't. Incredible how primitive sports medicine was back then.
No doubt.
Totally primitive, just crazy. Now you got Scooble. He's had 2 major surgeries, and he still wins 2 Cy Youngs.
All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan will join us then to talk all things NFL here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. He's a legendary Detroit sportscaster. He's part of the No Filter Sports Podcast. He's Eli Zaret. He joins us once again. Good morning, Eli. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Enjoying your conversation about the playoffs, and I can't disagree with anything you say about the NBA in terms of San Antonio Game 2 is important, et cetera, et cetera. We just had a series here in Detroit and Orlando where 100% of the people, the experts, predicted that the Pistons would have no problem, 4 or 5 games. And you see in a 7-game series the ebb and flow, where you go from what's wrong with the Pistons, and then after they're down 3 games to 1, how they're going to possibly win, and then pardon me, Cade Cunningham has a great game, as does Banchero. The point is, you just don't know. You can't get drama like this in a book or a movie, but it only happens one time. Here you have all these series. You got the Sixers down 3 games to 1. The Pistons fans are saying, what is wrong with this team? You're worried they didn't build it properly. They weren't ready for the playoffs. What did Trajan Langdon do wrong? Is Cade Cunningham not a playoff player? He's throwing the ball everywhere. And then, you're thinking, Franz Wagner is covering Cade, and then he gets hurt, and he's the only one that can cover him. And you get down to where you got game 6, and they're down 24 points at the half. I'm looking at my phone. I was actually watching it. This incredible guy named Oz Perlman was doing a thing here, the mentalist, and I look at my phone, and then I go, oh my God, they had a 2% chance of winning. So 98% chance their season is blown up. It's over. Who knows what they're going to do to retool this team? And they come back and they win it. And so I just kind of laugh, because you try what we do as sports fans and media people too. We're all in this the same. We take short-term results and make long-term assumptions. And so now that's what had happened to the Pistons. That's what's happening to the Spurs. Who knows? But that's why you can't duplicate this, what you see in the sports world, anywhere else. And that's why it's such a multi-billion-dollar business, unscripted drama that you don't get anyplace else. I've had that rave.
No doubt. You said it's the best reality television for a long time now. But look, you went through all of that and said you don't know, and you don't. But Orlando people are sitting there wondering, if Franz Wagner doesn't get hurt, what happens? Because to your point, he had slowed Cunningham down, and Cade's phenomenal. He is one of the best scoring guards in the game right now, one of the probably top 3. But the fact of the matter is, Wagner had a way to slow him down. And I do wonder, what Cleveland will do based on what they saw, the success that Orlando had. Because late in the season, I thought Cleveland, they played a couple of times. Cleveland seemed to have Detroit a little bit figured out. Where's the scoring going to come from, Eli, in this series? Because they need more than Cade to score. Well, so where do they get the scoring in this series?
If Tobias Harris hadn't stepped up, there was really no hope there either. But he's a veteran, and he really came through. If Harris hadn't stepped up, yes, who's going to score? Who else is going to do it? But the other thing is, the Pistons won ultimately with their incredibly tough defense that really enabled them to win 60 games during the season. That disappeared for a while because in the first few games, Orlando was bullying the bullies around. And so it's just so remarkable how it can ebb and flow. We saw it in the one game where 24 point, all these records are being set, biggest lead at the half, most missed shots in the fourth quarter. So you just don't know. And this Cleveland series will evolve as it goes. They make adjustments. And let me ask you this, Jamal Mosley, if Wagner hadn't hurt, would he still be the coach?
No. No,
No?
he was as soon as they lost.
Yeah.
Okay, he was getting fired. This was Tibbs all over again. Paulo hates him. Okay, half the team doesn't want to play for him. So no, he was as soon as they were done, he was done.
Yeah, well, it's fascinating too the way
It
that
is.
coaches come and go.
It is. And now, the other Detroit saga is Scooble. So first off, it was a saga during the offseason. If you're the Tigers, what do you do? Do you hold on to him for one last gasp? Do you try to trade him? They say they made an effort to sign him. They're only like hundreds of millions apart. So now it turns out, even though he's pitching well, in his last start, he went 7 innings, he's got bone spurs in his pitching elbow, and now he's going to have surgery. And hell, he's not even going to be back before the trade deadline. I mean, I guess the die is cast now.
Well, he was going to be. He's been. The whole thing is so. I don't want to say pathetic, but just the money. It shouldn't have been all about the money. And I think even the original thing, he's going to be the first $400 million pitcher. This is media nonsense, I think. These are just creating stories. Just like to skip ahead and say, you mentioned the NFL guy coming up at 8, and I'm sure it'll be fascinating. You got 4 months until the first football game that matters. And you got 4 months of training camps and OTAs and veterans reporting and rookie camps and this and that, and the story of the free agent that caught a pass in a practice game and maybe he'll make the team, blah, blah, blah. None of it really matters. So we were tired of all the money talk. And he hires Scott Boras. Scooble seems like a great guy, well loved, deserving of all his success, but it was just too much about the damn money. And it seemed ridiculous anyway to project him as a $400 million player. He's 30 years old. Who's going to give him $50 million for 8 years? So it's a dumb conversation. And the Tigers had really no choice. I don't blame them. You're going to put them in you're going to put them in the open market. Somebody will step up. I mean, if they can give Juan Soto $765 million and who knows how many billions they're giving Ohtani, somebody might have done it. So the Tigers were kind of, as a mid-market team, out of it. And so they're going to lose him one way or the other. So they were just going to keep him for one last season, make the best of his, two-time Cy Youngs, and hopefully get, pad the pitching staff around him. As it is now, though, this is so. The Tigers went through almost 40 pitchers last year. Here you've got an entire starting staff that any club would love to have. 6 of them all hurt. They signed Verlander. He's hurt. They had this guy, Trey Melton, was a rookie, was really good, do well in the playoffs. He's out with a shoulder problem. Reese Olson was set for the starting lineup. He's out for the season. Jackson Jobe, the exciting rookie, he had shoulders. He had Tommy John. He's out for the season. You got 6, and Casey Mize, who's pitching well, he's hurt for a few days. So it's just amazing how either they go through pitchers, they used 38 of them last year, or just they're all so fragile. How do you give anybody in his 30s like Scooble $400 million? So, we hope he comes back. Tiger fans do. It should be 2 or 3 months for these loose bodies. But, I think if he comes back and pitches well in August for the rest of the season, it probably won't hurt his free agency opportunities. But yes, you're right. They're going to use him for this season, make the best of it. And now even that for their last year, they're going to miss half of it with him getting hurt. Those are just the breaks of the game. And those are the things that make you wonder when you give a guy $300-400 million. Look at Garrett Cole, great pitcher, got a 10-year deal. He's missed, 2 of them at least so far. So crazy stuff. But it's a big story, and it does hurt the team. And I think they're a playoff team for sure.
How beloved was he up before the injury? Because, the last memory of him last year was not pitching the 7th, not wanting to pitch another inning in the playoffs. And for me, as someone who grew up watching this team and as a fan, I was baffled. I'm a guy that grew up on Jack Morris. I'm a guy that grew up, give him the ball, but let me have the ball until my arm falls off. I get it's a different world. But to the Detroit fan, when this season began, knowing that they were essentially renting him for one more year and that he came out early in a playoff game, was he beloved on opening day, if you know what I mean, Eli?
Most fans forget that. Most fans will excuse it. But yes, for him to take himself out after 6 innings in the last game of the season, playing the Mariners for a chance to win the whatever it was. I don't know, would that have sent them to the World Series? Or
No, it would have put you in the LCS.
last round. That's again, that's the money. That's Scott Boras. That's him thinking about the future instead of how do I get my team through this. So it's tough to say because he's a good guy. He's worked his way through all of this. He's had tremendous setbacks in his career, but that didn't sit well. It shouldn't sit well. And I'm with you. Jack Boras was a horse as Sparky saw him. You give him the ball, and it's very hard to take it away from him. And so we'll see what happens. But yes, that was disappointing to say the least. And I think again, just play and let's keep the money talk. But then again, guys like us are responsible for pushing it all the time with the money talk.
Well, I think Scott Boras is pretty good at pushing it, and then we respond to it very quickly. We were talking about the Lightning yesterday and where do they do after 4 first-round exits, and we were talking trade proposals, and the Wings came up. And I'm just curious, if you were the Wings, would you trade Dylan Larkin?
Well, it's interesting, and I don't consider myself a hockey expert, but Larkin and DeBrincat, who are their 2 best scorers, are in the prime of their careers. They do have some young players. They do have, Edvinson, Sider. You'd think they could plug in some other veterans. The minor leagues are not too filled with future stars, but I don't know what they get for Dylan Larkin. But I think what's missing, and this again goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning. When a team just loses its confidence, when the trend just starts to go, and I tell you, the greatest motivational book that I've ever read was by Pat Riley called The Winner Within. He wrote it when he was at the Knicks in 1993, a fabulous book. And the first chapter is about how when you get a bunch of young guys with some veterans, the young guys just trying to make the team and they're just trying to survive. And then things start to click and they start to think, well, maybe we can really go somewhere. And they start to think beyond themselves. And they accept their role and they pitch in and this builds and they can win, and it can go in the opposite direction where you just start looking around and saying, are we really that good? Am I that good? Same thing happened to Columbus. Columbus and the Wings are both in the same position. They were both in the playoffs. And I don't know if you read at the end of the season when they collapsed and what Rick Bowness said about, your men step up, don't be these babies and, they're not tough enough. They didn't want to win enough. And I think, and that's the fascination of sports, a collective malaise that can take a team down. And by the same thing, some sense of destiny, or we can really do something great that a coach galvanizes a team. That's what sports is all about.
Eli Zaret, kind enough to join us once again. Okay, part of the No Filter Sports podcast. Eli, hope you're well. Take care of that cough, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Anytime.
Eli Zaret, kind enough to join us once again on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
They need scoring. They need grit.
Yeah.
They need a little bit of toughness. They need a lot.
I agree.
They need a lot.
But they need scoring.
This is 4 March collapses in a row for this team.
Right. That's why we thought that maybe the Lightning, who can't get out of the first round, and the Wings, who can't get into the first round, we thought that both teams may want to tinker with, or maybe even blockbuster with, their lineups. And we thought they might be interesting partners, especially since the GM of the Wings used to be the GM of the Lightning.
Would be interesting because the talk is that Yzerman is being moved up and that Chris Draper is going to take over as GM. We'll see if that happens. We've got to wait and see. But you're right. Brisebois and Yzerman obviously know each other very well. You know, reading a bunch of articles about the Lightning yesterday, most people think not only are they going to run it back, but they're planning on signing Kucherov to a 3-year extension, if you will. And there was only one, and I read 4 or 5 different Lightning articles yesterday. There was one mention of a Kucherov trade. It doesn't seem like it's in the cards, but it's only 24 hours removed from losing a Game 7 against Montreal.
Quick question. Do you think their window to win a cup is still open?
Not without change.
I
Not
agree.
running it back. I think they need something. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but they need something.
I agree. And I think they have to make a major trade, a risky trade, to do it.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape. The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hey, Pat.
Good morning, Mark. Are you at home?
I am.
Yeah, I thought that.
I
all
go
those
back. I got to go back today
Cape Coral.
for a couple. I'll be there for basically 36 more hours.
All right.
I got to go do some tests today. I've got to some tests tomorrow, an appointment or two today, and then I go home for good.
That's so great.
You got that right.
You're gonna have to change your driver's license with your new hair color.
My next door neighbor is an ex-Marine, older dude, served in Vietnam. Great guy. I could sit and talk to Mike for hours, but yesterday I saw him for the first time. And he goes, I approve of your Marine haircut. I says, well, the Marine guts, American. But
That's so great. When are you kind of allowed out?
you know, it's a great question, Pat. Those are questions I'm asking today. I probably have done more than I'm supposed to. Oh, hey, I'm doing some editing, so it might freeze here for a second.
All right. No
I got to get the podcast up. But I'm probably doing a little more than I'm supposed to. But I'm pretty smart about it. You know, I went and caught the kids' soccer game, and I'd stand away from everybody. So
we're out watching the soccer game. How lucky are you?
Man, I missed a whole year of crap. You know, I mean, I missed. You know, she plays a lot of sports. I don't know how much longer she's gonna be doing this crap for. So yeah, it's certainly nice to be able to saw a softball game, saw a soccer game, but I know my doctor'd lose his you know what if I told him what I did, so I don't.
Yeah. You know what though? He knows you're doing it. He's Schultz. I see nothing.
Oh, he read me the riot act. I was out for a couple of days. And I wanted to. You went out to dinner. I'm like, Doc, I'm in a hotel. What am I supposed to do here?
Yeah. Well, he knows what you're doing. He just, if you don't tell him, he's not asking you.
Right. Exactly.
Lord. It's funny after the draft, until someone gets hurt at mini camp, so they sign some older veterans, which I like. It's kind of like a dead spot. You know?
Yes. All right.
Good morning, David. How is you? Oh, we're going to back in the hockey playoffs this weekend. Thank you, goodness. I don't know. You tell me. You guys around hockey way more than me. I don't like when your favorite team wins for the other thing takes another 8 days. I don't know if it's a momentum loser for the good team or the team that had to play later is tired. I can't really tell you. I think it helps the team that's sitting around for a week.
I think it's fine. I mean, if you're the better team, you're fine. Sometimes it takes the first period to get your legs, but that's about it. All right, here we go.
Welcome. You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Our thanks to TJ and the great folks at Floor Meisters. They've been great to us over the years. We're very appreciative. Floor Meisters just keeping it real. Halfway home on this Cinco de Mayo, at least in Jacksonville and Tampa St. Pete. Final hour of the show in the 239, Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, Venice areas, Live Oak, Lake City, and surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It's time for Pat Kirwan. He'll join us for a couple more weeks, twice a week. Once we get through the schedules, things slow down, and we'll go once a week with Pat into training camps. Pat, NFL Radio, moving the chains, weekdays 3 to 6, joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. How are you?
I'm doing great. And, we're just talking off the air that the draft ends and some of the teams haven't even had a mini camp, but it's kind of a little bit of a quiet dead spot until we see there's some significant veterans still available and they get signed or guys get hurt at mini camp.
And
unfortunately, the next story is online.
Yeah. Obviously, this is the time of year that injuries are the only thing that really matter, Pat. But, Mahomes participating in minicamp. I can't imagine there's much participation going on. Does that mean they're putting in some new offensive stuff? I mean, when you see that, because we don't think he's going to do hardly anything. Does that mean they're adding plays this time of year, trying to add to the package? What's really going on at a Chiefs minicamp?
Yeah, I think it's more psychological, uplifting field and look like the rest of us, but he's not going to do very much. And they're not going to work on new things with timing issues. I think he's going to stand and watch them try to install stuff with the backups. That's personally what I think he's doing.
Pat, curious about the Chiefs in this sense. How much better are they now than they were when the season ended? Let's just take Mahomes' situation out of it. Let's assume at some point he's going to be healthy. But, suddenly that roster's got real holes. And I'm just curious, in the last 3-4 months, how many of them do you think they've filled?
Well, I don't think they filled any of the tackle situation. No offense. When it's easy to sit and count rookies, but we've talked at length about, my old boss used to say, every rookie's worth a loss. So I don't think the tackles on offense is a locked in better situation. I don't think the pass rusher thing is resolved yet. Yeah, our Mason Thomas, a nice young player. Peter Woods will help a little bit, but those are rookies. So until they deliver it, which I hope they do, sooner or later they're going to have to. We're going to get to sophomores, the guys that were the rookies last year. We'll talk a little bit about them today maybe. But I don't think that you can look at this rock. I like Mansour Delane, but he's going to have to deal with the likes of Justin Herbert throwing at him and others that are going to do the same. So they're not afraid to rookie cornerbacks. They go at them all the time. So we'll see where they are. And with all that said, then we're still talking about Kelsey. Nice guy, great player at one time, Hall of Famer. I don't know. I thought he lost a step. I think some of you guys think he lost a step 2 years ago. So I'm not exactly convinced. The running back thing with Walker's awesome. You tell me, David, are they going to call running plays?
It's funny, Pat. I think we've told one or two Andy Reid not running the football jokes already in this show, and this is the off season. So do you think if you're Kenneth Walker, the thought process is, well, they're paying me all this money, so I guess they kind of have to give me the ball? I mean, then again, he gets paid the money whether they give it to him or not. But I would just think that since they committed that much money to him, that somebody's going to remind Andy, hey, give the guy the ball.
Well, he got rid of, or there was a parting of the ways with he and his offensive coordinator, Nagy, who was a guy that wanted to run the ball, and he's no longer there. And Marty Morningwig was with him in Philadelphia. And when Andy had to take a leave of absence, Marty was calling the running game like there was no tomorrow. And when Andy came back, Marty left. So if you don't want to stay there long, try to call the.
If I were Kenneth Walker, would be working with the jugs machine. I would be working on my pass catching skills so I can be part of the offense. Let's stay in that division for a second. Bo Nix got hurt at the end of the year. It probably cost his team a chance at the Super Bowl. And when his scheduled follow-up visit was there, they had to do a cleanup. If you're a Broncos fan, at what point do you get worried about your quarterback?
Those guys feel great about their team. Look how little they did in the offseason. They just reloaded their roster. So they think, and I don't blame them for this, I think we quickly said, oh, yeah, the Chargers and the Broncos caught up to the Chiefs, which I think is true. I mean, we can look at how it all worked out last year. But Denver's not worried about much. And the head coach doesn't seem to worry about anything. So he kind of thinks he's got the answers. So, that former quarterback thinks he's pretty darn good at running a football team. So they're going to be a problem for Kansas City. Now, I'd love to see Kansas City prove me wrong on all this stuff. But the precautionary flag went up going into last year. I'll ask Mark, did you take that flag down for this year yet? I didn't.
No, I didn't either. But the stuff out of Denver is, hey, if this was just a routine follow up, that's fine. They had to clean the ankle up again. From an injury standpoint, is Pat, you've been in the front office when all of a sudden a regular checkup becomes a cleanup. Is that something as a fan you should be worried about, or at what point does the ankle become a problem when he doesn't show? I mean, when he can't participate in camp. I mean, is this a nothing story between now and August? I guess
to me, it's a nothing story because cleanups are just what they are, and doctors want to do that ahead of a problem. I've had doctors say to me they'd like to go in and look at everyone they drafted. Why wait till we have a problem? Let's go in and take a look at their knees and scope those knees and see if there's particles in there we could take out. So cleanups at knees, ankles, I don't consider that a major problem.
all right.
Is there a roster in the AFC, just roster, that you like more than Denver's? Because, Houston's got a great defense, but clearly that offense, 2 years in a holding pattern. I mean, we can go through all the teams here. I'm just curious right now. Like a year ago at this time, I think the three of us were in agreement. We liked Baltimore's roster the best.
Right.
We saw how that worked out. Right now, in the AFC, would you take a roster over Denver's?
Well, it's an interesting question. I stood there and watched Denver lose to the Patriots in the championship game. And I scratched my head. I said, what are you doing? You're a better team, but they didn't deliver it. So there is a learning curve on how to win. To answer your question, is there a roster? Maybe not. But do I think teams can beat them? Yeah, because I would not bet against Buffalo and those guys. If they had a hard time figuring out New England, major problem in a game. So if you ask me to pick a team to play,
Pat's got to find that safe spot again.
Yeah.
He's jumping in and out on us, Pat.
Yeah,
We kind of got you going in and out. We might need to reconnect during the break.
Let's do it on the break.
All right. Todd Monckton gave the answer. I'm going to let the quarterback competition work itself out. You buying any of that? I mean, is he really going to have a competition for the quarterback job, or does he already know Deshaun Watson starting and he's not going to say it out loud to the media?
I think he thinks Watson will win the competition. I've said this on this show. You cannot be in a competition in the NFL more than a week. You start going into 2 weeks of BS competition and you're not getting ready for the season. We don't have enough practices. In the old days, when you had double sessions and pads, you could get a lot done and you could give a lot of guys work. You don't have the amount of time to get your team ready. So, and barring a setback physically, I think Watson will win the job, and they'll figure out what they got left in him with 1 year on his contract. So, I don't know. Monken's an older coach who's never been a head coach in the NFL, and he's going to want to win. And he probably has to win in that place. But Shador can wait his turn. Oh, what happened to Dylan Gabriel? Oh, that's right. David said he's going to Atlanta someday.
Yeah, he'll be in Atlanta. Just a matter of before camp or during camp. He'll end up as the number 3 in Atlanta and probably the number 2 next year. Very quickly, is the Browns' offensive personnel good enough that if they got decent quarterback play, they could be a playoff contender? Because quite frankly, their offensive personnel last year, outside of Njoku, maybe a little bit of Judkins, but the line was terrible. I mean, we thought it was awful. And I'm just curious, how much better is it?
Again, the same speech from me, counting on rookies all the time, and you took a lot of rookies in Cleveland to kick off the draft. They're good kids. They're going to be good players. I like Concepcion. Cut a guy's salary in half. DeJuan Jones, who was the starting tackle. I'd be a little shaky on these guys because let me to answer your question from the other side of the ball, David. Jimmy Schwartz ran that defense. I am not confident. And this is not about a new coach. It's just I know Jim, and I know how Jimmy ran that thing. You're missing that element. That's a mistake. And he wasn't going to stick around if he wasn't going to be the head coach. So that, to me, all of a sudden, what we kind of count on in Cleveland, I wouldn't be counting on so fast.
You know, a lot of guys in their second crack at head coaching have figured it out. I was surprised that Schwartz didn't get it. I understand why he didn't, but I thought he deserved it, particularly with the way that defense played. But now, like you said, Pat, they're going in a totally different direction. A guy who's never coached, never been a head coach before, and they have to bring in a new defensive coordinator with the defense that was pretty damn good last year.
I'll say this. If you hired Jimmy Schwartz as the head coach, he probably could have hired Munkin as his OC because he wasn't going back to Baltimore.
He's Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, which is weekdays 3 to 6. Pat joins us courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West and all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. More with Pat on the other side here on Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance cost. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You're in the show. You got me? Loud and clear?
What we do for now.
You know, before it wasn't, I didn't think it was me. I thought it was Mark Astley because it was spinning on you guys, not on me. And I was watching it when he was editing. He said, "Don't worry about it. I'm just editing." And I said, "Okay." But we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, you'd be fine for a minute or so, and then you'd drop for 3 seconds, and then you'd be fine for a bit, and then you'd drop for 5+ seconds.
Yeah, you guys were dropping on me because I didn't hear half of your questions, and it was spinning. The old spinaroo.
Unfortunately, I think that because we were with one another, so I think that was your connection, unfortunately, but it is what it is. No one's on vacation, Dratharian. We're running the show from my studio. Raj will work tomorrow. It will be his last show with us.
Are you going to be working from home from now on?
Just tomorrow's the last day from the Hope Lodge because I've got to spend the night there tonight. And that's it. But yeah, we ended up somehow with a piece of equipment that I didn't really think was ours that apparently was. So I have all the abilities to connect with a satellite company from here.
Good,
So
good.
I run everything right out of my office.
Nice. Aren't you going to miss going over to that studio there?
You know, if the studio was where it was, I wouldn't have changed. But since that building's gone and they're out,
That place closed up?
Oh yeah, they're knocking it down. I think they sold it the other day. I ran into somebody that worked there, and I guess they closed on it last week.
Let me ask you about that transmission tower. Is that down? Not you being used?
No, that'll stay there. It's funny. The Beasley folks were very smart. The radio company was separate from the transmitter company. So all of these stations have to rent the transmitter back from whatever that company is, Beasley Transmissions, or the old man never sold the towers all over the country. So he still owns, well, he's gone, but the family still owns all the towers. Brilliant move. I mean,
I don't think 93.7 Puck ever had sports.
No, 94.1 does.
Where did they move? Where did those guys move to?
It's out in Gateway,
Uh-huh.
out past the airport on Daniels.
Their studios used to be downtown Fort Myers. They built a brand new building.
So yeah, he
Is that where John works?
No, John's been done with them forever. John works from home. All John does is podcast production for all political stuff.
I got you.
Some big names too.
Yeah.
Good for John.
Yeah, I mean, John was at the White House egg roll. I mean, John's got connections. I mean, serious connections in Washington.
Well, there was one good thing over his job at Sirius. He was in Washington for a while.
Yeah.
He works on Megyn Kelly's show. He does Laura Trump's podcast. I mean,
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's connected.
Good. Great guy. Something. I have more things.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan. Craig Carton, afternoon drive, FAN in New York. We'll get his thoughts on the passing of John Sterling. Little Knicks, little Yankees, little Mets, little New York sports talk with Craig Carton coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time.
All right, Pat, I want to talk a little, front office ownership stuff. Rumor out there that Zuckerberg, the Meta Facebook owner, CEO, is interested in the Seahawks. Would the NFL be interested in him? It seems that, going the Amazon, the YouTube TV route, it seems like it would make sense, but he's also a controversial, brash sort of figure. That part doesn't make as much sense. When you look at potential new owners for the Seahawks, do you think Zuckerberg has a better than 50-50 shot if he wants the team for the league to want him?
Well, unfortunately, the league tends to pick the guy who has the most money. We've talked about this 100 times. The guy who maybe offered a little less might have been a better owner for the league. It used to be that way. The league was always looking for teammates. I don't think they've been looking for teammates for a while. Now, sooner or later, these guys get in line, but I don't know if Zuckerberg was ever intending to get in line, but he'll probably offer the most money and they'll probably do the deal. I'm being really sarcastic.
You know what? It's tough on the radio sometimes to fully grasp tongue in cheek, but I think we got it there. I could hear it.
Yes, well, you and I, it took 20 years of being friends.
Right. but I think our audience even caught it too. I think our audience was like, "Oh, I understand what Pat's saying here. I see where he's going here."
Yeah, when I first got in this, you really had to be a team player. You had to think of the league over your team. Interesting concept. That wasn't going to last very long. And as guys started to come into the league, you realize that their egos were ahead of the league. They didn't see it as a league thing, even though they reaped the benefits. The problem was one or two of those guys bought a high-profile team and said, I don't need the league for this. Yeah, well, sorry. Until we change the rules, you do need the league for this. And it was fun to see them be put in their place a little bit.
Your reaction to Stephen Ross saying that the league has basically told us that we're not on the short list for Super Bowls right now, that our stadium doesn't, we don't have enough room for all the extra stuff that the NFL wants. Okay. We've been talking about this, just what cities are going to end up on the list when they finally make a list. Do you think this was a message from the NFL to Stephen Ross, or do you think that Miami's now going to be on the outside?
Well, I think just not studying that subject very much, but they tied up a lot of their ground, right, with the Formula One racing and all that stuff. So I go to a lot of Super Bowls, so do you guys, but look, they need a lot of space for all the events. The amount of tents that you see up there is significantly more than the stadium itself in square footage. So unless you, and they're very strict on that stuff, they really take on a project where they can't get that done. So I don't know if they want a Super Bowl, they can fix it. But I think the good news is I think they put Tampa ahead of them. Don't you think?
Yeah, the one thing about it, if I'm Stephen Ross, and Pat, maybe I'm completely wrong here. Where's the room for all this stuff in New Orleans? And New Orleans never comes off the list.
They have the indoor convention centers right next to the stadium.
Okay.
So when you go there and you see the size, I mean, that was at one time a convention city. When you see the size of the convention room they have to run everything indoors, it's funny to call it a tailgate party indoors, but that's what it turns into when you're there. So you really have to have that. And they don't have convention center facilities near that stadium. So
no, they do not. No, they do not. We've talked about that before. The Miami Beach Convention Center's 45 minutes from the stadium on a good day.
And when I was doing my first year of radio, it was painful. And it was hard to get guests because the talent that you and I would call the football talent, they were up in Fort Lauderdale. And they did not want to come down to Miami to do a spot. So it wasn't a great situation. They're using two cities and a suburb, and it involved a lot of transportation stuff. As much, the weather's on the side of the game there, but not much else.
How much longer is Radio Row going to exist? Okay, first off, if they keep putting all these Super Bowls on the West Coast, that's going to rule out 60 to 70% of the radio stations in the country from heading out there. Secondly, they've made it a fortune. I think the NFL should go the exact opposite route. I think they should go the way of the Falcons' concession prices. Seriously, I think they should say to all the radio stations, listen, it's expensive enough for you guys to get out here. If you can get out here, okay, $5. We'll say, and a credential, and we'll save you a table right over here. So, and I'm serious. You're there every year, but you're with Sirius. I mean, you'll be the last people left at Radio Row. I'm just curious, how much longer do you think it's going to exist?
It's a great question. I don't think they will adhere to your idea because how would they make money? And they don't make money on that. Here's what I think is going to happen. The big sets like ours and CBS Sports and and Pro Football Talk. The guys with the big sets, they're not going anywhere. What's going to be in the middle where everyone else is, the small radio stations, the locals, I think they're going to just be gone. And I think that the teams are broadcasting their own stuff, and they're feeding back everything to their websites. When you go to other events now, the amount of space that the clubs use at the combine is bigger than the space for the radio guys. So I think that's going to happen, and eventually maybe just the WFAN and things like that. But even those guys have cut back on going down there. So I think it's a dinosaur in a lot of ways, which is a shame. But it looks like it's heading that way.
No, I think you're right. I mean, I think we could send a talent booker out there. They could have one studio with a camera and hook up via the way we do a show and just have them log on. I mean, I think you could run people that way, and we could just all do it from where we do it from, because economically it doesn't make sense anymore. I'm just hoping while David and I do this, we get one more Tampa Super Bowl so we can participate in one more, because it's always a good time for us. All right, Pat, what are you paying attention to here between now and when the schedule comes out? What are you paying attention to?
Well, things that I'm always looking at on my list of veterans I think will be on teams, right? That's a pretty high standard. Veterans that will be on teams for 2026 that are still free. Some of them are pretty good players. Like there's 4 or 5 wide receivers. There's a couple of pass rushers. We've talked about them before. You got pass rushers and wideouts. Then you got limited other positions. Think about cornerbacks, maybe two or 3 corners. Some are going to get signed because of an injury at camp, an Achilles. Someone's going down with an Achilles, stepping off a curb at practice. And someone will get an ACL. So those kind of things they'll run to these lists. But I do think you shouldn't wait around very long if you're looking for some of those things that are there. Like there might be 2 guards that I'd like to sign. I don't care about age right now, right? If GMs are telling me they don't care about 25-year-old rookies, I don't care about a 35-year-old guard who can play right away, because I need him for a 1-year Band-Aid, even if I have to write a 2-year contract. So you know the names. I know the names. I'm still wondering about Rodgers above and beyond the veteran free agents that are out there. We've already exhausted the conversation about the guys who didn't get the 5th-year option. Big deal. I am now starting to ask these questions of myself, so I'll ask you. Which guy in the sophomore class is going to have the best transaction from year 1 to year 2? Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Shamar Stewart, Jackson Dart. Who's going to make the jump that you're supposed to make in pro football?
That's a loaded question. I'll tell you what, I think Cam Ward's in a much better situation this year than he was last. We can pick this up on Friday when we talk with Pat again. Pat Kirwan joining us here on Miller and Moulton. Craig Carton next.
The Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions.
You're
At
listening to
6100
Miller and
Shirley
Moulton,
Street in
coming
Naples
at
off
you
of Pine
from the
Ridge,
floor.
American
So
Paint Supplies
we'll
delivers
worry
the
about
best
a new venue
solutions
for the
with the
race
best
down the
products
road.
with the best
But,
support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best,
Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332516.
This is Miller and Moulton.
America.
Eli Zaret next on Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first. Your roof in Naples is proud. America. Went right to voicemail. I'm going to try again right now. Craig, good morning. Mark Miller, Miller and Moulton Show. How are you?
Doing great, man. Thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it. Craig, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, we're good. Going in like 10 seconds. Thanks again for your time. Really appreciate it.
Sure.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes to the top of the hour. Thrilled to be joined by, well, a broadcasting legend in New York, that's for sure. Crushing it afternoons once again on FAN. Host of the Craig Carton Show podcast. He's Craig Carton. Follow him on X at Craig Carton Live. Craig Carton Live. Craig, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How you guys doing today?
Well, we're fine. You had about 6 hours between the news yesterday of John Sterling's passing and when you signed on yesterday afternoon. Just curious, okay, your thoughts on John Sterling and how there are a lot of classic New York broadcasters. Marv Albert, Sam Rosen, we could go through the list. And John Sterling was different than all of them.
Yeah, look, one of the worst things you can say about someone in our chosen profession is that they're a copycat or not unique or new, or they don't do it their own way. And John was all that. He was a very unique broadcaster. I think later in life, as people started to kind of mock the mistakes he made, that became part of his charm as well. And he also represents, I think, a generational thing where I'm not sure how old you guys are, but I grew up belonging to work every single day. And there's an insecurity in what we do. And the reality of being the Yankee play-by-play guy comes with it a certain level of insecurity. And I think that's one of the things that drove John to make sure he never missed a single pitch, let alone a game for any reason. And the man did more than 5,000 consecutive games. If you want to put it into context, Derek Jeter had a 20-year career for the New York Yankees. John Sterling called every single pitch of Derek Jeter's career. Let that sink in. So I think when you talk about, from a baseball standpoint, Harry Carey in Chicago, Harry Kalas in Philadelphia, Vin Scully in Brooklyn and then LA, I think you have to talk about John Sterling in the same type of way as one of the legendary voices of baseball.
We agree with you for that matter. He had a different style. He was maybe a bit of a homer, and I don't mind that. In fact, there's part of me now that appreciates it when everybody is so blah. He was someone who you knew who he was rooting for. He never ever disguised that. He was Yankees first. And damn it, if I'm a Yankees fan and I'm listening to, wait for it, the Yankees broadcast, I want my guy to be rooting for the same team that I'm rooting for. And yet he kind of took crap for that. And I don't know if that was really fair.
Yeah, it probably wasn't fair. Look, all the play-by-play guys are an extension of the team that they cover. They've got relationships there. How could you expect them not to curry favor to or root for the team they're broadcasting? To John's credit, he would take shots. They were selective shots, but he would take shots at the Yankees. Bad base running, questionable managerial decisions. So while many people may have viewed him as a shill for the Yankees, I think it's probably the best way to describe it. He was also critical, I think, when it was warranted. So he was not just, there were two sides to the coin with John Sterling. And look, we knew that this day was sadly going to come. He had health issues, but he leaves behind a legacy that I think we would all, be envious of. If we could look back at our careers and have the same kind of legacy and be feted the same way he was yesterday, I think that's what we're all striving for, and John achieved it.
Craig Carton, afternoons, FAN in New York. Also the host of the Craig Carton Show podcast. Follow him on X at Craig Carton Live. Craig Carton Live. You were inducted into a Hall of Fame 2 years ago. We brought this up yesterday. Most major league broadcasters, if you do a 30-plus year run with a team consecutively, you end up winning the Ford C. Frick Award at some point. He's only been a finalist 3 times, and it reportedly has never come close to getting in. Okay.
Yeah, he belongs in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it's ridiculous that he's not. And the sad thing is that, he's not going to be alive to enjoy. His family, I'm sure, will enjoy the moment. But I just don't get it. Like when you're the voice, like no disrespect to I don't know, the Cincinnati Reds or the Houston Astros. I'm sure they have great broadcasters who've been there a long time historically. But man, you're the voice of the New York Yankees for more than 30 years. Did 5 World Series championships, and I think he was a finalist twice for the Ford C. Frick Award. What else do you need to do to get in?
We don't know. I honestly,
yeah.
And to me, look, you're right. His family will like it, but it's kind of a load of BS to not get in while you're alive. To me, it really is. I mean, it takes away from his career, unfortunately, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, I know he's in the New York Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Obviously, he'll wind up, I think, in Monument Valley for the New York Yankees as well. I think there'll be a bust of him before it's all said and done. And the Yankees did honor him last year while he was alive, and his family got to be on the field with him, which I thought was a great thing for the Yankees. Look, he's going to get into the Baseball Hall of Fame posthumously, and I agree with you. That sucks because he should have been in while he was alive so you could enjoy it.
The Knicks, have they played this group?
Right, the Knickerbockers.
Right. This group's been together a little while, okay? 3, 4, 5 years. Have they ever played 4 playoff games in a row like this?
No. And the last 8 quarters specifically might be the most dominant 8 quarters of playoff basketball in NBA history. And I think, in a weird way, it took Mike Brown and the Knicks 85 games to figure out who they are and to play to their strengths. So what I mean by that is give Karl-Anthony Towns the ball in the low post, play the pick and roll game, don't force shots, don't play hero ball. And right now, they're a juggernaut. And this notion of, Philadelphia was tired. Well, man, you're only getting 1 day off in between these games. If they were tired for game 1, they're going to be tired for every game in what should be a short series now. The New York Knicks, get it to everyone's head, are going to the NBA Finals. That's happening.
I don't disagree with you because the team, I don't think the Pistons get through Cleveland. The Pistons gave the Knicks fits during the regular season. I don't know with the way the Pistons score if they could beat the Knicks in the postseason. But if these two teams, all right, if we give Philly a pass, and I'm not giving them one, I'm with you, by the way. The tired thing irritates the hell out of me.
It's nonsense.
But if they respond in game 2, if they have their A game and the Knicks have their A game, aesthetically, shouldn't this be a great 4 or 5 more games, however long it goes?
If the game was played on paper, yeah, sure. Paul George, great player. Joel Embiid, one of the great centers of all time. Tyrese Maxey, 30 points a game. VJ Edgecombe, up-and-coming rookie, had a really good rookie season. The problem, though, is that Joel Embiid's old now and slow, can't get up and down the court. He's a flopper. He's dirty. You have Paul George, who played his best basketball on HGH this year, which is why he got suspended. And I think the Knicks are a deeper team. Their bench is much better than the Sixers bench. And I think overall, they're just a better basketball team. So my expectation, yes, I'm a homer. Yes, I'm being very subjective about this. But I think if you look at the teams and the 8-man rotation that they essentially play, the New York Knicks are a deeper, more talented team, and they're healthier and younger. And I like the Knicks to beat the Sixers. I said in 5, and I'll hold to that. I think the Sixers have self-respect, and they'll probably win 1 game in Philadelphia, but it's going to be a short series.
Game 2 is everything because the Knicks have very rarely gotten off the 2-0 start. So I'll be curious if they can finally put their foot on someone's throat and get up on them, because this group has not done it very often in the last few years. We were talking earlier. I was mentioning how the Yankees beat the Orioles 39-10 in the 4-game series. And Mark said, yeah, David, they're beating everybody like that. And we went through the numbers. Brian Cashman basically re-racked last year's team. Why is it playing so well?
Well, first off, they're getting great pitching. Cam Schlittler's a Cy Young candidate right now. Max Fried, best lefty in the sport. And when people say they run it back, it's interesting. I would agree, but not 100%. They ran it back from the trade deadline, yes. This was not the team they had in April or May of last year. This is the team they had in August of last year. And I think when you recognize they won the most games in the American League last year, tied with Toronto, obviously went into the playoffs, beat the Red Sox in the first round. Why wouldn't you want to bring that team back? Nobody won more games than them in the American League. They're getting better play at a shortstop with Caballero over Anthony Volpe last year. And each night, a different guy is responsible for breaking it open. Obviously, Aaron Judge and Ben Rice are the two best offensive players. But then when you consider the fact that here the Yankees are 13 games over 500, they're getting Garrett Cole back. They're getting, another pitcher back. They're just going to get better and better and better. And when you look at the American League, which is not great this year, the New York Yankees are by far the best team in the American League. Now, that does not guarantee you a damn thing, other than they're going to be in the postseason. But once the postseason starts, then you got to roll the dice and hope that for the first time since 2009, this Yankee team can figure out how to get a big hit in a big spot and not rely on a home run to win a game. But I think they are the class of the American League, and I don't think it's very close right now.
No, I don't either, because I think Tampa's over their skis right now. It's remarkable what they've done so far.
Yeah,
there's only one other team over 500 in the whole damn American League. To say it's not that good is a vast overstatement right now. But as you said, Cole's coming back. I mean, they're 1, 2, 3 on their staff. I don't know the last time it's been this good, Craig. You tell me.
No, and Rodon comes back also. Another starting pitcher that they thought a year ago was going to be a rock star for them. So they've got the deepest pitching staff from a starting standpoint. I guess you could question, is Bednar a legitimate, top of the line closer? He's been pretty good in the year and a half that he's had the job, or I guess a little less than that for the Yankees. But I guess I would ask your audience, find the weakness. Like, what is the Yankees' Achilles heel? And right now they don't have one. And they're dominating everybody. You're right. They just want to, it's hard to win a 4-game series in Major League Baseball. And they did it, easily with the blowout win again last night. I didn't realize the discrepancy in total score in the series that you just said against Baltimore. But this is a juggernaut right now. Imagine 13 games over 500. They've only played 30 games. It's crazy.
And I'm debating whether or not to bring up my Mets or not. How about if I just say that? The floor, put it in all seriousness, because the National League is very different than the American League. Okay, you're starting to look now as to how many wins you'll need. I mean, mathematically, can the Mets? I was just going to say, mathematically, can they make the playoffs?
No, it's a wrap. Now, what if they've won 3 in a row? They just, they beat the Rockies yesterday. I'm not sure if that game's going to get
3
played.
out of 4. Yeah,
I think they're getting snow or something in Colorado again. No, look, it's I guess the exact opposite of the Yankees. If I said to you right now, who on the Mets, Soto aside, is going to be the guy that leads them out of the abyss? If someone can answer that, I'd love to know the answer. Right. There's no answer.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And when you spend $370 million on a roster, that's unacceptable. But for the Mets, nobody's getting fired. Nobody's getting traded. David Stern thought he was the smartest guy in the room, the general manager, and put together a team that he thought would win a lot of games. And obviously, to the contrary. And there's nothing worse in sports, obviously, than being irrelevant. The only thing that could come close is where the Mets are, because not only are they irrelevant, when they go down a run, we all have this kind of guttural feeling it's over, right? It's like they're not good enough to come from behind and win. They're not good enough to score runs in multiple innings. Even yesterday, all 4 runs, 1 inning, 8 innings, 0 runs. And it's very tough to watch that. As much as I love baseball, when you're an offense that averages about, 2 runs a game, if that is very hard to watch. And that's kind of where the Mets are right now.
Craig, you're very busy and you're much bigger than us. So we really appreciate you making time for us.
I
All right.
appreciate the request anytime.
continued success afternoons on FAN and with your podcasts, and hopefully we can talk down the road.
Let me ask you a question. Tonight's interesting. There's no Nick basketball tonight, and I didn't get to see American Idol last night. Can I watch American Idol tonight and blow off Lakers tonight, or does that make me a bad sports fan?
Look, we're NHL guys. The NHL playoffs have been fantastic. You got Colorado and Minnesota. That's as good as it gets in that sport. So that's what I'd tell you to watch. But you know what?
Okay.
You might want to scout the Pistons, because if they beat Cleveland, I'm just saying they had the Knicks number this year.
I'll say this because I'm not a big hockey guy, but with one caveat. If you put on a third period NHL playoff game that's tied or a 1-goal game, I'm not sure if there's a sporting event more exciting than that in America.
Craig, we agree. Safe travels. Be good. Hope we can talk down the road. Craig Carton, afternoons, FAN in New York, and the Craig Carton Show podcast. Follow him on X at Craig Carton Live, Craig Carton Live.
He's got the Knicks go to the finals. I don't know if he's wrong, David. I really don't. Because I think Cleveland gets Detroit, and I think they can take out Cleveland.
I knew we had to start with Sterling, because once we went to the Knicks, I knew it was all over. It was going to be a totally different Craig Carton, and it was.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape. If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller, or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Buddy of mine just texted me from Michigan. No bigger flopper in the league than Brunson.
He's on the short list.
That's
He
someone who
is.
watches a lot of Pistons, right? It's so funny. My buddy had the game on, and I was just, I'm like, wow. They end up the game they came back, the game 6. I'm like, not even interested. Don't care. Oh, they want to trade Kucherov for anybody right now, Canada Relief. Let me just ask you, how you doing with the new GM? Before you start picking on a good franchise, how you doing with the GM hire in Toronto?
Yeah, really.
You got nowhere to talk right now. I don't know if he's look, he draws a lot of fouls. Does he flop to do it, Empire? I mean, he just plays in a way that he dives into people. I don't know if it's know what I mean? I'm not saying you're wrong, Empire, but I don't think he's a flopper. I think I don't know.
Okay, a flopper insinuates faking contact where there is none or exaggerating
Luka
contact. Right. Luka's an amazing flopper. Brunson's a tremendous flopper.
Right.
But SGA is going out of his way to make contact with you to draw the foul.
It's not a flopper. It's a different thing. I'm not saying I understand the point you're making, Empire, and we're kind of arguing the same thing at the end of the day.
But
and Relief, it was discussed yesterday.
Okay. How about this? Can you say SGA is a flailer?
Yeah.
Because he's just constantly throwing his arms and legs out there, and there's no way for the defender to not be hit by SGA, and then they give the foul to the defender.
Well, there was a backlash on Matt Sundin because he's never worked in a front office before. He has less experience than Shanahan that they brought in to do the same thing with less responsibility.
And the other thing, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but wasn't he smart enough to bring in Lou Lamoriello with him? Didn't he bring in like the most experienced hockey guy he could find?
I didn't think Lamoriello was there, but I could be wrong. Was he there
Was
for
Lamoriello before Shanahan? I'm sorry. Because he was in Toronto before, and he got fired, and then he went to the Islanders.
But Sundin has no power, Canada Relief. That's the other part of this. Look at what his title is. He's
the in charge of alumni
advisor.
Isn't he in charge of like alumni relations is what it almost looks like he is?
It's a little more than that. They want him to build culture and player development. Here we go. I've actually got something here that's a little off the beaten path.
Good.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Pro Hour, the bonus hour, the final hour of Miller and Moulton in Jacksonville and Tampa St. Pete. Thanks so much for being with us. Also on twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, the YouTube Miller and Moulton channel. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We've had a jam-packed show today with Eli Zaret, Pat Kirwan, Craig Carton. Go to millerandmoulton.com and download what you missed.
Trying to get them up a little faster for those of you that are listening at some point later on May 5th, working hard to get them up as quickly as possible. New little system. We're getting there. The Phil Steele magazine's, about to go to print, David. I ordered mine months ago. I think back in February, he put a special out for the magazine, and I couldn't order it quickly enough.
Okay.
But he throws out dribs and drabs on X from time to time. And he put out his article, put a link to the whole article, basically going into the season. These are the teams with the toughest schedule based on last year's winning percentage of the teams that they played. North Carolina has the toughest schedule based on last year's records of the teams they played.
Oh, good.
Nearly a 65% winning percentage for their opponents.
Oh, good.
And we don't really care much about North Carolina, so I'll get to the teams we care about. Ohio State's actually second on the list. The Buckeyes at nearly 65%. Nebraska's fourth. Michigan is sixth. Indiana 11th. Texas, who will be a preseason top 5 team again, they're 14th. Oklahoma 18. Tennessee 23. The Gators are tied for 28th. They play about 57. They play 5 ranked teams, and they play 6 teams with a winning record, for what it's worth. Alabama 38. Florida State 41. I've gone up and down this list 3 times, and I'm trying like hell to find Miami. I can't seem to find them, David. I do know that when I dug very deep into the list, there's Miami, 106. They play 1 ranked team from last year. Now, they do play 6 teams that had winning records, but it tells you just how bad the ACC is right now. I mean, that's what that's telling you.
I was going to say, because that team's Notre Dame. Or
Yeah.
no? Right.
Yeah.
They go to South Bend this year, don't they?
Notre Dame, by the way, 112.
Oh.
Now, they play 4 ranked teams. That's all of the teams that they play with a winning record. That's it.
So Miami, BYU, and 2 others.
Yeah. So, it does. Now, look, we don't know how these opponents are going to be this year. It could, things can obviously turn around greatly from year to year. The ACC could be much better, and that would benefit both Notre Dame and Miami. But from the looks of it, Penn State 110, by the way, for a Big Ten team. That's pretty low when you're in a conference that sent all those teams to the playoff and have the defending national champion in your the last 3 for that matter. And they're 112 when the last 3 national champions, Ohio State, Michigan, and Indiana, are 2, 6, and 11 respectively.
Well, doesn't that scream that at the very least those 3 schools aren't on Penn State's schedule?
Got that right. So, but what it tells me for Penn State, Notre Dame, and Miami, if their opponents hold true this year, then who would get the benefit of the doubt? It leaves not a lot of margin for error. Now, like I said, teams can end up doing a lot better. UCF, for what it's worth, is 90 on the list. USF is 74. So just throwing out there a little college football, because I know people can't get enough of it.
By the way, what I'm finding interesting going through Penn State's schedule right now, Michigan is actually on their schedule. So is USC. But otherwise, Mark, non-conference, Marshall, Temple, and Buffalo. And then Wisconsin, Northwestern on the road, Purdue, at Washington, Minnesota at home, Rutgers at home, at Maryland. I mean, they could have a 2-game schedule. Michigan and USC.
I don't really think this is Notre Dame's fault, but they have 3 Big Ten teams on their schedule. and one sucks. And they do these schedules pretty far in advance. The other two have been better. One's Wisconsin. That's their opening game. Well, Wisconsin was a hot mess last year. They've got Sparty on their schedule. They've been a hot mess for about 4 years now. But, North Carolina, Stanford, BC, Syracuse.
Well, and that's just the luck of the draw because the
Right.
ACC just sends them, here are your teams. Now, I thought, didn't Notre Dame and Clemson agree to like a side contract?
They did, but it doesn't begin next year.
Ah.
So, Wisconsin, could they turn it around, end up being a ranked team? Yeah, they could.
Hope so.
I don't think Michigan State will. I don't think North Carolina will. But they do play at BYU. They host the Canes, and they host SMU. Those are ranked teams from a year ago that they face.
Boy, you wonder again if 10-2 is enough. I mean, if they lost to Miami at home and at BYU, I think they'd have a tough time making the playoff.
The Canes, Florida A&M, Central Michigan. I mean, these are their, non-conference games that they're playing.
Right.
They're at Stanford, at Wake. They have Clemson, who was a disaster. That's not their fault.
Right.
Florida
That's
State.
break.
Florida State, obviously. But they get Pitt. The Notre Dame game, they host Va Tech on a Friday night in November. That will be a better game than what it looks right now. That'd be a fun game to go to. That's November 20th. I might have a hall pass by then to be in public.
That's
Just
pretty
saying.
late in the year. That's
Right. It's a nice night. Weather's going to be terrific. It's a
Chance
Canes
for-
game, so unless it's Florida State or Notre Dame, there'll be tickets available.
chance for James Franklin to get a signature win in his first year.
They even play Pitt October 24th. If it's at night, that's okay. You're still in jeopardy if that's a noon or a 3:30 game. I'm just saying. Could be 90 degrees.
All right, question. Now, you had good seats last year, but for Florida, Georgia, that's right around Halloween, a day or two in either direction. How was it for you last year? Was it too warm for you? Did it barely make the cut?
No, it was perfect. It was
Okay.
actually sensational.
Okay.
It was warm when we were tailgating. It was beautiful out. I mean, it was wonderful from noon to 3. Walked into the stadium. It started cooling off as the sun went down. It was delightful. Would do
Okay.
that every year. That was
All right.
fantastic.
No, just making sure because when in October is your cutoff, and that's
Well, I mean, that's a little further north. I mean, I'm damn near
I
in
know.
Georgia.
I know.
Okay, this isn't going to a Miami. I mean, difference in temperature in late October between Miami and Jacksonville can be 15 degrees.
I know. I keep track still of the weather in Southwest Florida, and on an average day, it's 6 degrees, but it can be 13. Yes.
So just some college football scheduling.
Okay.
And Penn State, Notre Dame, Miami, at least early on, have what are perceived as very easy schedules. We all know what the SEC brings, and Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio State, tougher schedules.
I was going to say, could you give me that Indiana again? Were they 11th?
They were 11th.
Because let's face it, Cignetti has taken a lot of grief for his scheduling the last 2 years. Now, obviously, this past year they beat everybody, so it didn't matter. But I mean, non-conference, North Texas, Howard, and Western Kentucky. I mean, he's making sure when they play Northwestern, they're 3-0. That's for sure. Then it's Northwestern, Rutgers,
But Nebraska, Ohio State, at Michigan, consecutive weeks.
Yeah.
USC at Washington, back to back. I mean, that's
Yeah.
That's reasonably salty.
Yeah.
You know, the Wolverines have Oklahoma at home. They play Iowa, Penn State, Indiana, at Oregon, at Ohio State. So
It was a good thing that Michigan and the Big Ten let Sharon Moore coach that Michigan at Oklahoma game last year, wasn't it?
well, how else could he send out Instagram messages to people in that part of the country?
Exactly.
And the Buckeyes are at Texas this year. They host Illinois, at Iowa, which isn't a good place to play. Already mentioned the Indiana game in Indiana, at USC, home for Oregon. Finish the year at Nebraska before they host Michigan. So the three most dominant schools in the Big Ten all have tough Big Ten schedules. And Penn State doesn't again, but whatever.
Right. Well, they went 6-6 last year though, so best laid plans of mice and men.
Exactly. But you wonder, I don't think Penn State this year is a sleeper team because I don't know what they're going to have from a roster standpoint. They lost everybody and didn't bring a lot in. But there's usually one Big Ten team, David, that has the schedule and the right team. Is it USC this year?
I was going to say, I'll be curious how Phil Steele addresses who's coming back. Okay. Well, half graduated and the other half went to Blacksburg. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Texas has the Buckeyes, and then two Texas teams, Texas State and UTSA. At Tennessee, Oklahoma, Florida, Ole Miss, Mississippi State at Missouri, at LSU, Arkansas, at A&M. I mean, that's a pretty good schedule. Always wanted to say this on there. Want a fresca, Danny? Mm-hmm. All right. If the Gators win their SEC opener, they're 3-0 because it's at Auburn. First-year coaches, I get it. I think Florida's got a more talented roster. Florida should be 3-0. Hosting Ole Miss. At Missouri. Let's just say they split. That's 4-1. Home for South Carolina, 5-1. At Texas, 5-2. At Georgia, until proven otherwise, 5-3. Oklahoma at home. That's the season right there. Because they can win their last three. That could make them 9-3. Doing glass half full with the Gators, David. We've got a minute and a half. They're going to win their first two. They just are. Florida Atlantic and Campbell. At Auburn, let's just give them the benefit of the doubt and say they win at the road. Two first-year coaches. I think they've got a better roster.
By the way, isn't that interesting?
Right?
You know,
Goalish. All right, okay. Home for Ole Miss at Missouri. Just give them a split. Now, they can't lose both there.
It's 4-1.
They're 4-1. Home for South Carolina, 5-1. At Texas, 5-2. At Georgia, until proven otherwise, 5-3. The next week, however, is the season. Home for Oklahoma. Because they should win their last three. They could win 4 straight games and go 9-3. Because they got Oklahoma, then they're at Kentucky, home for Vandy, at Florida State.
Where's Oklahoma?
Home. That's a 3:30 game, by the way. I mean, I don't know what else is happening November 7th, but there it is, David. Drink of champions right there.
I couldn't. It's a glare. It's Fresca! Look at you!
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
You know, you come off so innocent sometimes. Okay, but you know, while you're coming off, yeah, and here's what I mean. Like last segment, you did. Hey, you know, I was looking at Phil Steele and the magazine, and you know, it just got me looking at his list of schedules. Well, you know what you did there, right? I mean, you threw red meat to so many lions. I mean,
Exactly.
now we're in the chat room and the text line. You're being inundated with either people telling you what they think their team's going to do, or they're asking, "Hey, can you go through my team's schedule?"
I went through the Texas schedule. Someone asked, and then that got me to looking at the Gators schedule.
Exactly. And
because I did a
now,
bunch of Big Ten teams, and that's not really fair because our audience, first and foremost, are Gator fans first. That's probably the largest contingent of college football fans we have listening to this show.
agreed. But
And maybe Florida State after that, but they don't admit it anymore. So I might go Buckeyes second.
yeah, it's probably Florida State, but they're just very, very quiet.
Yeah, they couldn't even hunt a rabbit. They'd miss.
No,
I mean, I'm talking the ones that run around my neighborhood that you can catch with your bare hands.
totally. Right. No, Norvell right now couldn't catch a cold. Listen, I would like to apologize in advance because there are 3 more days left in the week, and I am becoming consumed by a story that is out there. And we only did one small segment on it, but I am obsessed with how unqualified and what a blankety blank the guy they just hired to run the Toronto Maple Leafs is.
And if this show aired in Canada, we'd be all over it.
Exactly. If I promise that this is the last thing I will mention all week, can I mention it? All week.
I don't think I have a choice.
No.
All right, audience, 21,000 for those of you in Tampa and Jacksonville. Would love to hear from you if you're listening. I really would. 21,000 is the text line, the keywords Miller. Here in the chat room, the over-under on David mentioning something else about the Toronto GM, even though he just promised he wouldn't, is at a half. Where are you going? Give your answers, and David, go on with your little GM thing.
Okay, no, the rest of the week, I will not bring it up. Okay? I promise. I will not start a conversation. If Mark, by chance, finds something out later in the week, okay, like what he served at the Wendy's north of the border when he was running the chain, that's a different story. So this guy supposedly, when he was running Arizona, and he got in all that trouble for lying and cheating and got kicked out of the league. Yeah. So he had 6 computers on his desk, and he made it look as if, it's all analytics. So apparently when the guy who takes the job after him comes in and he sits down and he's the one computer he has working and he can't get the others to work, and he calls IT. And the IT guy walks in and the new GM says, I can't do anything. And he goes, oh, no, they're not hooked up to anything. That's just to make it look like he's smart and he's doing work. This guy was in charge of an NHL team, and he had 5 fake computers on his desk to make it look like to the people he was in charge of that he was smart. And he was looking up all this information constantly. All right, I'm done. This is amazing.
Single with cheese. Oh,
yep.
Sorry.
Yep. No, seriously.
For 4.5 years, since he quit,
forced to.
He controversially quit.
Right.
Arizona. He has not worked in the sport. He's running the family business, which owns 50 Wendy's franchises and 5 Tim Horton donut franchises in Canada.
He was a liar, cheater, and a fraud when he was running Arizona. He essentially is forced out of the league and suspended for a year. Nobody hires him in the 4.5 years after that. He's running the Wendy's chain north of the border.
That his family owns. He didn't get a job there on his own merit. His family said, here, run the business for us.
Okay. I will not say anything else for the rest of the week, but I can tell you that when the show is over, I am immediately going to put on NHL radio. I am totally obsessed with this story.
Well, I'm there with you because I am driving to Tampa today, and I'm basically telling my wife, I don't know what to tell you we're going to listen to some NHL, right? Because they're based in Toronto.
Exactly.
They want that team to win more than any other team. It's driving them nuts that the Canadians are good. They'll be fine if the Canadians win it because they would love a Canadian franchise to win the Stanley Cup. But trust me, I think they'd rather have Buffalo win it. I really believe that in Toronto.
Yes. In Toronto, I think they feel Buffalo is more Canadian than Montreal.
Yes. By the way, Gators fans.
Here we
See
go.
what I did there, David? Brought it right
Yeah.
back to
Well,
the
you
game.
have to, and that's fair. That's fair.
I played the schedule game during the break. And I think the Gators are going to get off to a 5-1 start. I really do. I'm not making huge leaps. I have them winning at Auburn. Okay, I think they have a better roster than Auburn. I do. They play Ole Miss and Missouri back-to-back. I say they get one. And then South Carolina and 2 cupcakes. So they're 5-1 going to Texas. They're going to lose. Then they play the cocktail party. Until proven otherwise, they're going to lose that one too. But then they host Oklahoma on November 7th. If they could get that one, they could run the table and be 9-3. And I am just asking you, Gator fan, if they're 9-3 this year, what's your mood like for the holiday season?
Oh, my goodness. What's their mood like? Please, they'll be talking about traveling to a bowl game in a 10-win season. They'll be so happy.
Well, they'll be playing if they're 9-3, they're playing a bowl game in the state of Florida.
Probably. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think 2 key games there. You highlighted the second one. The at Auburn game, to me, circle it, because think of the significance. Think of almost the program within the program statement. Because now who's coaching Auburn? The guy who was at South Florida, who went into the swamp and beat them last year. Who's the quarterback at Auburn? The guy who was at South Florida went into the swamp and beat them. Okay, so if Sumrall can go to Auburn and beat Golish and win, I think Gator fan will already turn and look and go, well, we got a better coach than we had before.
Right, and then you're coming home for Ole Miss, and you're giddy. You are. I don't know if you're going to get that game, but the mood in Gainesville on September 28th, probably a night game on ESPN. That would be my guess for the Gators and Ole Miss.
Oh, yeah, Swamp will be rocking.
Right.
By the way, Ole Miss has already had a couple of arrests. They're having a nice offseason. I mean, it's not a Georgia offseason, but they got a nice little offseason.
It takes time to build to that, David.
Right.
It really does. I mean, you can't just come out of the gate with 6-8 arrests. You gotta build your way to what the Bulldogs have become. So I'm just saying, could it be? Yeah, could they get 10? Sure. But could they get 7-8? Absolutely. But you're right, David. That at Auburn game early will tell us a lot. I'll tell you about today was a day when the good, the bad, and the ugly, and David will let you know what's on tap next.
The Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Your roof.
When we talk, the floor
Is your home. Your roof. The floor.
I think it would be very weird, Dratharian, but I don't think it's an impossibility. Although I'd hire Thibodeau. I wouldn't even bother with it personally. Sorry, you're getting to find out how the sausage was made, kids.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till we're done. Out of here. So long. Bye-bye. Farewell. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks for being with us. You got
anything you want to talk about the
No,
the
I
lead?
said no.
Okay, just check.
No, I said rest of the week. I'm going to keep it to myself. I am racing to the car immediately after the show. My goodness, racing. Just
Where
like
are you going?
Oh, just driving up and down San Marco.
I mean, is there a drive-through in your future?
I don't know. Stomach's not feeling that good this morning. I don't know. It depends.
Do you try to, because in this, I'm not picking on you. I had heartburn for the first time the other day in a long, long time. I try to power through it and eat. Even when I have an upset stomach, it's my nature, and I know it's the wrong thing to do, but it's the way I'm built. Well, if I eat something, I'll feel better. Do you have that same habit?
Oh, absolutely. If it's time to eat, it's time to eat.
And sometimes even when it's not time to eat, it's time to eat.
Yeah, but when it's definitely time to eat, even if I'm not feeling it, yeah, I got to eat. Yeah. I trust that the food will overtake whatever the other bad feeling is.
Just checking.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
All right, we start in 1821. Napoleon dies as a prisoner in the remote island of St. Helena in the southern Atlantic. You know I love these old boxing stories, but it was today in 1863 that Irish boxer Joe Coburn KOs American Mike McCool in round 67.
Is that Irish Joe Coburn?
You know, no nickname given. First defense of his heavyweight championship of America was in Charlestown, Maryland. Carnegie Hall opened today in 1891. Orchestra, guest conductor. Cy Young pitches the first perfect game in modern baseball today in 1904. The Boston Americans beat the Philadelphia Athletics 3-spit.
What didn't he do first and most? Show off 511 wins.
Today in 1921, after the first four versions apparently failed, Coco Chanel releases Chanel number 5. Today in 1952, the I Love Lucy episode of the Vitamin one. She does a TV commercial. 68% of U.S. television households watched. I know there weren't a lot of choices. It's still 68%.
Right.
Alan Shepard is launched into space today in 1961, becoming the first American astronaut to travel in space. The flight lasted 15 minutes and reached a height of 116 miles into the atmosphere. I'm guessing your mom had this album, David. I don't know if mine did. West Side Story, the soundtrack, goes number 1 and would stay number 1 for 54 weeks.
Oh, I know she did. I played it while she was still at work, and I was home from school, and I wasn't allowed out until she got home. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Plus, Mark, I love Broadway.
Today in 65, the first ground units arrive in South Vietnam. 1969, because the ABA screwed up, the Milwaukee Bucks signed the number 1 draft pick, Lou Alcindor. If you watch that ABA documentary, the commissioner of the ABA, I think it's Mikan, blew it. They had this done. They were going to pay him $1 million. He said, you give me your first and final offer. That's it. I'm not negotiating. I want to see your offer. And the ABA's offer was much better. And then they rescinded on the offer inside of a meeting. And Jabbar told him to go pound sand and sign with the Bucks. One of the many mistakes that league made. Today in 73, if you're watching, whoops, this shoulder. This guy behind me, right behind those 2 bottles of bourbon. One's full, one's empty. Secretariat at 1:59 and 4 runs the fastest Derby ever with Ron Turcotte aboard in the 99th Kentucky Derby.
And 53 years later, Mark, how many horses have run the Derby faster?
That would be 0. Zip, zilch, nada.
53 years later, how many horses have run the Preakness faster?
Same answer.
Well, then we might as well ask the same question of the Belmont, Mark.
Swale gave Secretariat, or Sham rather, gave Secretariat a hell of a run in the Derby. I think Sham has one of the 3 fastest Derby times. You don't pay any attention to it because it finished second. It ran a great Preakness. They thought for sure when they went the 1.5 miles at the Belmont that Sham would take care of business. And Secretariat won by 32 lengths or whatever it was, and there's never been a Belmont run faster.
Nope. So, how great was Secretariat? Oh, I don't know. Won all 3 and won them in the fastest times ever. And I mean still ever.
Today in 78, they did it to me. If it wasn't for these 2, I might be at my playing weight. But in Burlington, Vermont, today in 1978, Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield opened their store. They sold crepes, soups, pottery, but the homemade ice cream with locally sourced cream and butterfat, well, that was the main attraction. And I've had an unhealthy relationship with those 2 ever since. Also today in 78, Rose becomes the 14th to 3,000. 1989, the release of Field of Dreams. 1995, the last game played at the Boston Garden. The Celtics eliminated from the playoffs by
Orlando
95-92. I bring this one up for you, David. Today in 07, Street Sense, the favorite, won the 133rd Kentucky Derby. Calvin Burrell aboard, but I don't bring it up for either of those 2 reasons. There was a special guest at the track that year for the Derby, Queen Elizabeth II.
Thank you, Mark.
And 11 years ago today, the debut album by Chris Stapleton, Traveler, was released. Best country album of the year, Billboard album of the year in 2016. It's fantastic. Karl Marx and Tammy Wynette would have celebrated birthdays today. This is one of those days with not great birthdays, so I get to bring people up that would never normally make the list. All 3 of these fit that category. Harold Miner played for the Heat, won the dunk contest. He's 55. Zygmunt Palffy, he's a hockey player. He's 54. I just wanted to say Zygmunt Palffy. And Machine Muhammad, former Spartan and pretty damn good receiver in the league, is 53. Adele is 38. Chris Brown, 37. And running back James Conner is 31. Sabalenka, one of David's favorite tennis players, she's 28. And Carlos Alcaraz is just 23 years old today.
Although I think he's out of the French wrist surgery. I think he's going to miss the French.
Okay. I mean, if he comes back and he's fine, David, I mean, he's just 23. That's
no. Oh, no, I know. I mean, over under how many majors he's going to end up with. But I mention it because it's tough for Djokovic to beat both Alcaraz and Sinner to win a major. But what if he only has to beat one of them? Just saying. I just want to throw this out there because I'm into this more than you. If we were president, one of the perks is you get to hand out presidential medals of freedom. You'd give 2 out to Ben and Jerry's, wouldn't you?
I think I would.
I think
That's a
you
great
would too.
call. I mean, I don't know if I'd give it out, but you and I love the movie Dave and the Charles Grodin part of that movie when he brings him as an accountant to look at the books and he offers him whatever the food was, corned beef or something, like some sandwich that they had. That place would be stocked with Ben and Jerry's. They would be making new flavors for me.
I'm telling you, I think they
I mean,
did.
Trump likes his Mickey D's, David. I'd
Yep.
be calling Ben and Jerry's going, all right, we need this flavor and I need it now.
No doubt.
Don't know if they'd get the Presidential Medal of Freedom, but there'd be a freezer chock full of pints.
What's that truck pulling up to the White House at 5 a.m.? Oh, it's nightly Ben and Jerry's. Oh, yeah. Get out of the way. This is important.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
All right, we start out today in California. In Pico Rivera. Never heard of it, but it's a great video if you can find it. The cat, the house cat, Mama, challenges a coyote. I'm not kidding. The coyote thinks it's getting lunch. First off, the coyote's out in the middle of the day. That's unusual in and of itself. They're night creatures. But the coyote goes to get the cat. I saw the video. It's fantastic. The cat swats at the coyote and then chases the coyote. Cat begins to walk again. The coyote comes for round 2. The cat hisses, heart arches the back up. The coyote gets a little miffed. Cat runs up a tree. Cat 1, coyote 0. For the bad, we go to Australia for David Moulton's living nightmare. Snake catchers, Suncoast Coast snake catchers, posted a video to social media showing snake catcher Stuart McKenzie arriving at a home and finding a snake on top of the in-home air conditioning unit. It was a python. McKenzie would catch the python and release it to a more suitable location, that being a tree. I can't even imagine you if a snake was in the house.
I mean, like
Especially a big snake.
Oh,
A big snake.
Lose my
Not a
mind.
little garden snake. I'm talking, I mean, I've seen a couple of big rattlesnakes in Florida. Obviously a water moccasin, something that could do violence. And even though a python probably, they got to wrap you up and all that, but a python in and of itself would drive you nuts. Finally, the ugly, we come back to Fort Myers, Florida, where a parent kicked a 13-year-old during a fight at a youth football game. Renee Lambert ran onto the field and kicked the teenager during an altercation between players. Body camera footage shows her trying to leave the scene before deputies confronted her. When she was approached, of course, she began fighting with the deputies. She told deputies she fought back because a child hit her with a helmet. Investigators determined that claim was false. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Tuesday, Cinco de Mayo, and it's brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, offering great pay, hiring new officers, solid signing bonus, vacation time, benefits, and more. For all information, capecops.com. That's capecops.com.
Only 3 playoff games tonight. 2 in the NBA, 1 in the NHL. NBA, 7 o'clock, Cavs and Pistons, game 1. They're getting the NBCSN treatment. because, well, let's face it, you got a New York team in one series and the Lakers in another. I mean, Cleveland, Detroit, get ready. Your only hope is those series don't go very long and you can get it on NBC for game 6 and 7 of yours.
Yep, there you go. That's it right there. Game 6 and 7.
Pistons a 3.5-point favorite. 8:30 tonight on NBC. Oklahoma City a 15.5-point favorite over the Lakers. Thought is Luka going to miss at least the first 4 games of this series. He's not even practicing yet with the team full court.
Cleveland in 6, OKC in 5.
Detroit in 7, OKC in 5. Wild and Avs tonight, 8 o'clock ESPN for you hockey fans. Everybody in action in Major League Baseball. Marlins are hosting the Orioles. Rays back with the Jays. DeGrom pitching for Texas in New York against the Yankees. Braves, remember, they lost the first game of their series to Seattle. Got to win the next 2 to keep the streak alive. So, just saying.
Mariners might start getting their act together about now, David.
Reds and Cubs, A's and Phillies. That's also what's out there. Hey, have a great Cinco de Mayo. Thanks so much for listening. We are Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton